They can do that with a win over the West Coast Eagles today. The Eagles arriving in Victoria with all kinds of rumours and reports swirling around the future of their senior coach. Will he remain at the helm beyond 2023? The answer to those questions and many more as we move through this afternoon on Grandstand AFL Football beneath the roof at Docklands early on a Sunday afternoon. Ben Cameron in commentary alongside Jess Webster. Once again, we're back after Geelong and St Kilda last night for the Western Bulldogs and the West Coast Eagles. Jess, g'day.
Hey, Ben, it's like we never left, hey?
I know.
Just spending our weekends here at Docklands. But look, the equation's really simple for the Dogs today. They simply have to win, and a percentage boost won't do them any harm as well. West Coast, look, they had their colours lowered last week. Obviously, they've done that on a few occasions this year, but particularly in the Western Derby or Derby, depending on where you're from. So they'll want to bounce back strongly. And I guess a positive for them is here at Docklands this year, 2 of their 3 losses have been by under a goal. So they have been competitive under the roof, and let's see what they can produce today.
We're looking forward to it. And before I welcome you, Berkey, I do need to mention, for anyone that was with us for Grandstand AFL Sunday, Nigel has sent in a text. Just a reminder, Berkey, Yugoslavia ceased to exist in 1992. Bit hard for them to be in the basketball top 10.
Okay, I'll give you that one. Good point. I was thinking Lithuania in my head and just the wrong word came out. Can I claim that?
Yeah, I think that's a good answer. Brad Sewell has joined us in the box for, 2 of your former assistant coaches, Luke Beveridge and Adam Simpson, going head-to-head tonight.
Yeah, certainly. I was fortunate to have seen Western Bulldogs last week and fortunate probably not to have seen West Coast last week. So, it is a simple equation. Western Bulldogs have to win. They need to fine-tune things if they want to continue playing for the rest of the year. And West Coast, well, there's more questions than anything else, aren't there?
Yeah.
And for poor old Simo.
It's a great opportunity for the Western Bulldogs. I mean, they're unreliable. Whenever you kind of write them off, they perform, and whenever you begin to believe, they let you down. And they have a golden opportunity against a team that they should beat to come out and put some processes in order to ready themselves for an important game next week down at the Cattery and potentially an assault on the finals.
Yeah, it's important though that they don't look forward to that. They've got to get the job done here today, and they're very, very hot favourites. The other thing that they can't think about too much is percentage, which GWS certainly put that on the table with their big win yesterday. So if they go out thinking we not only have to win, but we have to win big, you can do things that aren't naturally in your game plan and you can get yourself into a little bit of trouble. So it's going to be interesting to see how mentally the Bulldogs handle this game.
The West Coast Eagles are an interesting case. Just looking at Adam Simpson, Mark Duffield, who's one of the leading journalists in the West, reporting that it very much seems like an exit negotiation right now between Adam Simpson and the club. He's contracted for another 2 years after this season, but seemingly, I think with the state of affairs at the West Coast Eagles, it does look like a change might be coming. The stat that stands out for me around the West Coast Eagles as incredible is that in their last 32 matches, they have lost 7 games by over 100 points, which is the same number that Collingwood, in their entire history, dating back to 1890 or the 1890s, over 2,300 games have lost by over 100 points. That is incredibly damning for the West Coast Eagles.
I look at the list and the injuries that they've had, and look, in many ways they've been unprecedented, and you can absolutely make a case for the cattle that Simo's had to choose from to put out there. That is actually legitimate. What's not legitimate is those 7 by over 100 and the magnitude of the losses. You're still putting out there an AFLW, an AFL quality team. And to lose by that much, that's the thing that will probably hurt him in there, not necessarily the losses, because on one hand, you've got an excuse, and the other hand, it's like, oh, yeah, but not that much of an excuse.
And there is a weight of numbers factor to it. So a lot is spoken about the numbers for Adam Simpson. He's owed millions of dollars right now, and if the West Coast Eagles were to terminate his contract, they would have to pay a luxury tax on top of that would take money out of the football department and would cost the club a lot of money. They've got more money than anyone else in the AFL. When COVID hit, they had more money in cash reserves than the AFL. So they have a lot of money, but it is whether it is the juice is worth the squeeze to pay that money out of the soft cap and remove their coach over the next 2 years and still have to pay another coach and maybe cost themselves some development coaches while they're paying that tax.
I'd have him coach next year. I wouldn't get rid of him. I'd say, mate, let's give you a healthier list next year and see what we can do. We're going to save at least $1 million out of the $2 million, potentially. They're not going to make finals next year, so let's wait and see.
I was going to say, that also depends on Simo's appetite as well.
Yeah.
Those numbers you spoke of there, Ben, they're demoralising for a senior coach to keep that energy up and enthusiasm up. Negotiated outcome does seem like a pretty plausible exercise.
Jess Webster was keeping her eyes on the toss of the coin in the middle. Who won it, Jess?
Marcus Bontempelli for the Dogs and kicking to the Coventry end. Have I got that wrong? Now that the screens are up, the Lockett end. Thank you. The left of your radio dial.
Berkey's old mate, Tony Lockett.
That's still a travesty that we can't actually see the names of those two players at either end. What are the AFL doing? Get your act together.
I tend to agree. I'd like the names back. I think we're all tipping the Western Bulldogs unless I have anyone disagreeing here today.
I like to be a bit contrary, but I don't think I can even bring myself to do that today.
So both teams getting into position. The Western Bulldogs in their home blue with the red and white hoops around the middle. The West Coast Eagles in their yellow jumper with the blue wings. The umpires in a white shirt, grey shorts, and their fluoro socks, not to clash with the West Coast Eagles. It's the opening game on the Sunday of round 23 of the AFL. The Western Bulldogs up against the West Coast Eagles. You're with Jess Webster.
Tim English and Bailey Williams to contest the first ruck contest. Tappers won by English and Bontempelli overran it. It's picked up by Duggan and brought to a halt immediately. We'll have another stoppage inside the centre square, inched about 20 metres closer to the Dogs' goal. English again just takes it out of the ruck cleanly. A hand pass missed Dale, and now it's a turnover long for the Eagles. Gives it to Tim Kelly, sends the Eagles into attack. Allen on the long lead has got it. He'll line up for a shot on goal. 40 metres out, slight angle to the left.
Nice transition, slick play out of that stoppage, and Kelly has been one of the few shining lights or consistent contributors for West Coast this year.
It comes in hard and fast like that. It's going to be really hard to stop. Good to see Elliot Yeo starting in the centre bounce. We saw him play full-back a couple of weeks ago here at Marvel Stadium and did not make a great fist of that. He's certainly not a full-back, so good to see him in the middle.
It's been a great season for Oscar Allen in West Coast colours. 46 goals from 21 games. Here he is on the approach. Looks pretty good off the boot. And that's a superb start to the Eagles. They lead 1 straight 6 to the Dogs, yet to score. A minute into this opening quarter on Grandson AFL.
Berkey couldn't ask for a better start, could you?
No, beautiful.
We might have a game on our hands today.
They go too early, but it was really good space there by the West Coast Eagles, and a great lead by Oscar Allen too, because he led sideways, and as a defender, when the ball's out in front, you lead sideways. It's very hard to stop that because you can't come over the top and punch it. You've just got to rely on a bad kick.
What a star he is. Probably the next captain of the West Coast Eagles. Story in the paper over there in the West yesterday about rival clubs coming with big money offers to try and raid the West Coast Eagles of their star key forward. Eagles with the first goal of the game. Back in the middle, English slaps it forward for the Western Bulldogs, tracking after it. Duggan for the Eagles, knocks it towards McRae. Handball away to Norton, handball to Treloar, back to Norton in the middle of the ground, tucks it under the arm, kicks inside 50 for the Bulldogs. Rotham's there for the Eagles, takes the defensive mark at fullback. He'll kick to Hewitt, the rising star from last week. Has it at centre-half back for the Eagles. Will kick out towards the wing. Bouncing ball for Edwards, able to pick it up and spin out of trouble. Now he'll look down the city wing. A short kick for Bailey Williams. It's Bailey Williams for the Eagles. Known as Bailey J. Williams today. We've got the 2 Bailey Williams out there for both the Dogs and the Eagles. A ball up on the city wing here at Docklands. The Eagles with the opening scorer goal.
From the stoppage, Hewitt hand passes backwards to Witherden. Caught in a West tackle, just got the hand pass out to Edwards. Kick around the corner, bounces over the head of Bailey Williams. Dale picks it up for the Dogs, sends it to half forward to a pack, off hands, Waitman is lurking, can gather, gives it to Chalor, kicks towards goal from 40, it's away to the left, to the right in fact, for a minor score. West Coast 1 straight 6, the Bulldogs 1 behind, 3 minutes played in the opening term.
Bit of ball movement there by the Bulldogs, sharper.
Witherden with the kick in for the Eagles, drives it up the middle, and it all opens up. Duggan able to mark on his chest. He'll give the handball to Kelly running by. He looks towards half forward. Darling slips to ground. O'Donnell gets in front of him, takes the intercept mark for the Dogs. Chips it short to English. 1 straight goal to 1 behind. The Eagles lead early on. English kicks up the wing for the Dogs. Can't find Waitman. Spills down to Kelly for the Eagles. Handball away to Duggan. Forward handball away to Edwards. It's a long handball back over his head. And getting involved, Jones for the Eagles. Picks it up. Handball away to Yo. Sweeps a handball forward. Nearly misses it. Long tracks after it. Picks it up. Away to Cripps. Eyes the goals. Pulls the trigger. And kicks it. Who would have thought it? The Eagles with the opening 2. Inside 4 minutes. They're 2 straight 12. The Bulldogs 1 behind. The Eagles lead by 11. Here on Grandstand AFL, Nathan Burke, Brad Sewell.
Well, what I like are the Eagles taking the game on right from the start, and it was evident by the Witherden kick in. He ran out to the right and almost in a set play, he kicked the ball back into the corridor, but sort of the left-hand side of the centre square, and it was just a really attacking play, a set play to get the ball quickly down the other end. And every time they've marked it so far, they've had a player running past, they want to move the ball quickly, and we've seen them play here before, and they've tried to maintain possession. Eventually it falls over it and the other team kicks a goal, but certainly the way that they've come out today is in a very attacking mode.
Back in the middle, English with another tap, but Hewitt collects for the Eagles, gives it to Yo, jams it on the left boot up towards half forward. It'll bounce in front of Bailey Williams of the Western Bulldogs, but he didn't get a kind bounce. It goes out of play for a throw-in at left half forward for West Coast. The first 2 goals in this opening quarter, they lead by 11. Tim Kelly, 4 disposals already in 5 minutes of play and a couple of score involvements. Umpire spins the ball back into play. Spills down to Edwards. Swung in a tackle, gets the hand pass to Hewitt, who gives it to Kelly. And now to Cole, a high ball towards half forward to a pack out in front as O'Donnell can't complete the mark. Marek jumps on top of him. We've got a stoppage at left half forward for the Eagles.
Signed a new contract during the week, James O'Donnell. A couple of bonus years on top to remain at the Dogs. From the restart, Bailey J. Williams hooking it down. Ricochets away for the Eagles. Petrevski-Seaton in the yellow long sleeves. Handball away to Edwards, who stabs it inside 50, and Baker marks. Also a contract extension this week. Baker for the Dogs as he kicks out towards Keith. Allen spoils for the Eagles. Gets it on the bounce. Hooks the ball to full forward. Baker's back there, making amends. Takes the defensive mark.
Runs his full measure, has a bounce, kicks to the wing, lobbers a couple to beat. Rotham with the fist kills the contest and sends it over the line for a throw-in next to the 2 benches here at Docklands.
30 disposals to 13 so far. Controlling the ball, the Eagles.
Ball back into play. Williams in front position and ruck. Spills to Noah Long. He sends it to half forward. 2-on-1 favouring the Eagles, and Keith takes the intercepting grab.
The original cricketer turned footballer at the Western Bulldogs for James O'Donnell. He goes short to Bailey Dale, who gives it back to Keith. Dogs in their defensive arc. Keith gives it to James O'Donnell, running off halfback. He'll kick out to the wing with it in there for the Eagles. Brings it to ground. Gives it off to McGovern. He'll kick the Eagles to half forward. Spots up Kelly, who goes immediately. Runs into trouble. Now pokes it in the Darling direction. And he marks in the left forward pocket. 35 out, tight angle, 45 degrees to the left-hand side.
Doggies just got their hands on the ball. The second of the contest across the park at the moment, and West Coast winning all the one-on-one contests.
Clearance is 6-1 as well, favouring the Eagles.
As O'Donnell came streaming out, kicked the ball long, but it just rebounded so quickly he could not get back to his opponent, which is Darling.
Jack Darling, 21 goals on the season with the drop punt. Where has this Eagles been all year? 3 straight 18. The Western Bulldogs yet to get out of the blocks. They're on one behind the Eagles by 17, 8 minutes into the opening term on Grandstand AFL.
There's 13 Western Bulldogs players, including Caleb Daniel, Bailey Smith, Bontempelli, Ed Richards, Tyler Duray, Hugo Hagan, Riley West, haven't touched the ball yet. They have not even had one possession, and we're 9 minutes into this quarter, and all of those players, 13 of them, have not touched the ball.
The Western Bulldogs fighting for their place in the top 8 this afternoon. Need to get the job done if they want to feature in September. It's the Eagles who've got the jump early here at Docklands. Back in the middle we go. English with a tap down. Treloar tries to tap it onto advantage. McNeil picks it up, gets it inside forward 50 for the Dogs. Off hands, Lobb follows up at ground level. His hand passes the turnover. Chesser to Witherden and Cole. He's sweeping hand pass over the top, releases Petrocelli at left half back. He can hand pass to Hunt. He'll get it back. Petrocelli runs into a brick wall and Smith. Ball spills loose. Umpire says play on. It's close to the line. And it is over and out for a throw-in on the City wing.
Petrocelli's a great runner, but he's not a strong inside midfielder. He bounced off Bailey Smith far too easily there. Smith has to be able to wrap that up.
Umpire spins it in. Jack Williams in the ruck there for the Eagles, trying to follow up at ground level again. Petrocelli going in. Now the Dogs are there. Spits out towards Kelly. He's got it. He's tackled quickly. Bailey Smith this time strong in the tackle. And a ball up, City wing.
They're disappointing, Dogs. After their efforts last week, you'd think they'd come out absolutely hard as a rock and strong hungry for the contest, but we haven't seen any of that at all today.
Jack Williams able to flick it down. So we've got Bailey J. Williams for the Eagles, Bailey Williams for the Dogs, and we've got Jack Williams, the other ruckman, with Bailey J. Williams for the Eagles. Very confusing.
Eagles win the clearance through Witherden. A tumbling kick towards half forward. Hewitt traps it nicely. Hand passes back and board to Gaff. Jams it on the boot inside forward 50. Allen's in a one-on-one against Keith. Got hands to it, couldn't complete the mark. Sweeping across is Jones for the Dogs. Kicks across the face of goal to Poulter. He chips it short to Keith. Still inside defensive 50. It is the Eagles by 17.
Stabs it short. Dogs finally with a little bit of the footy as Richards running off halfback. Stabs it short to Smith. Marks low down as the mulleted Bailey Smith. He stabs it short to Treloar. Releases Bontempelli with the handball. Right foot kick to half forward. McGovern goes up. Gathers on the bounce for the Eagles. Handball to Witherden under pressure from Scott. Shovels it out to McGovern. Umpire lets them play. Eagles away through Gaff to Kelly. Handball to Jones. Chaining handballs through the middle. Long kick from Chesser towards full forward. Out the back it goes to Hewitt, who will try and gather and spin. He'll get onto the right. He'll snap on goal and see it through for a behind. Very nearly another goal for the West Coast Eagles. Not to be.
The Dogs quickly bring it back in. Richards from halfback finds Poulter. Look out as Duggan comes off the bench and runs him down. He just got the kick away to half forward. It's marked by Vandermeer. Close call. Vandermeer wheels onto the right. It's a chaos ball inside forward 50. Waitman couldn't complete the mark. Picked up by Norton. He gives it to West and now to Scott. On the left towards the top of the goal square. Eagles have numbers there. It's ricochets through for a goal, but it's off the boot of Jones. Are we going to go upstairs?
Sure, the goal umpires are a little gun shy today.
You may as well, I think, is the directive.
Please confirm the ball was touched.
Umpires calls it goal.
Preview underway.
Taking a clear deflection, hasn't it?
It's going to be tough. Did it hit the foot of the West Coast Eagles player or the thigh?
It's the hand.
I thought it
bounced at right angles almost.
Yeah.
You can see the shadows.
Well, if there's not sufficient evidence to overturn it, the umpire's call is a goal.
Is it a finger from the second West Coast Eagles player there?
Yeah, Berkey, you're onto it.
And he was very quick, Jack Williams, to suggest that he had touched it.
Just a little pinky sticking out, I think, might have touched the ball. But I think we're anything dubious today. we could be in for a lot of reviews.
So they're taking their time having a look at this vision. came off the boot of Scott. So it will be a goal to him if they can't overturn it.
Review complete. Looking at these angles, we can see there is insufficient evidence to prove that the ball touched the defender's right leg.
So it's a goal to the Western Bulldogs. They get on the board through Anthony Scott.
I don't think they were looking at the right thing. The ARC said there was insufficient intent to say that it hit the defender's right leg, but it appeared to hit Jack Williams' pinky. Another goal line ARC controversy.
Eagles 3-1-19, the Bulldogs 1-1-7, 13 and a half minutes gone in the first term on Grandstand AFL. Nathan Burke and Brad Sewell, what did you think?
Well, I think the Eagles are a little bit stiff there. From what I could see, looked like it touched the right hand of the West Coast Eagles defender. I want to see whether he stuck his hand up.
He did.
Yeah, and said straight away.
Leg though.
Having another look at it here. Did he stick the hand up? Yeah, he stuck the right hand up and went down.
Saying it hit his leg.
Well, I think Jones said it touched his leg and Williams is saying it touched his hand. So they're both saying that they touched it at different areas of their body. Who knows? Play on.
A little fortuitous for the Dogs to start. Maybe it's the tonic they need. Out of the middle, Bontempelli inadvertently soccers it, still chases it back, picks it up across halfback. Handball to Richards, Dogs with it. Handball to McRae. Handball to Poulter. He'll kick around the wing, looking for a leading Norton. Bounces off his chest. Bontempelli knocks it on. Petrocelli there for the Eagles. Handball away to Edwards. Handball to Duggan. In a little bit of time and space, he'll kick around the wing. And Allen, strong hands. Vice-like grip. Out in front, he takes the mark. Just forward of the wing, dock side of the ground. Eagles by 12.
Kick the opening goal of the game, Oscar Allen. Here he is on the wing. He'll kick it backwards to Rodham on the edge of the centre square. With space, no one comes at him. And now he sends a long ball towards half forward. Duggan has to come from behind with the fist. It spills down to Poulter. It gives it to Keith. He's wrapped up and dispossessed. Ball spills loose at half forward for the Eagles. Petrocelli picks it up. He's driven into the ground. Umpire says ball up between wing and half forward. The Eagles into attack. They lead by 12.
Let us know where you're listening. 0437 774 774. Eagles kicking the opening 3 goals of the game. The Dogs, the most recent goal. Eagles by 12 points. High free kick here on McRae. Had a down week last week, 16 disposals. His fewest in a full game, dating way back to 2018.
Good consistency.
That's a lot of the footy. There's Jack McRae. He'll go back here to Jones inside their defensive arc. The Dogs happy to work it around inside their defensive 50.
Kicks across the ground to Keith, who casually has a bounce, and then decides to chip it short. It was a dangerous kick, and O'Donnell couldn't complete the mark as Allen applied the pressure. Gathers at ground level, kicks down the line, but has turned it over to Hunt, who's marked just forward of the wing out of side. Plays on, gives it to Yo. A long kick towards full forward. Allen got hands to it, couldn't reel in the mark. It spills to McRae of the Western Bulldogs. His hand pass over the head of Keith. Darling keeps it alive to Marek. Back to Hunt. Gets on the right boot from 45. It's missed near side for a minor score. The Eagles doing plenty of attacking. 13 points the margin, 3-2-20 to the Dogs, 1-1-7. 17 gone, first term.
Inside 50s, 9-4 the way of the West Coast Eagles.
Bulldogs have got Tim English off the ground at the moment, just getting checked by the doctors. It looks like he's okay to come back on, but got a bit of a knee in one of the early ruck contests.
Daniel goes short to Bontempelli, who kicks up the wing and Poulter's over to mark. And he's given away a free kick, so it'll go to Jack Petrocelli on the logo. Jermaine Jones cruising by, he ignores that. Sue says, "Hi team, I'm cheering on the Eagles poolside in Vietnam." How good's that? Petrocelli long into the pocket. Up goes Jack Williams. Can't drag down the mark. Coming through, Petrevski-Seaton. Suckering it on Kelly. Out towards Marek. Handball to Allen. Dumps it on the right boot. Snaps it on goal. Through for his second. And the Eagles are absolutely on beneath the roof. Early on this Sunday afternoon. The Dogs with a tardy start. 4-2-26 plays 1-1-7, 17 minutes in. Brad Sewell, Nathan Burke.
Berkey, I haven't seen much of West Coast play this year, and I don't want to put you on the spot and ask if you have, but Simo started on the bench down here today, and he is up out of his seat more than he has been sitting down, talking to every player as they come off. He's been addressing all of the players sitting on the bench. I mean, you don't usually see a coach this active early in the game. Maybe late in the game when things are close. But has this been consistent?
No, I haven't seen it do it.
Okay.
No, certainly. And I haven't seen them play this type of attacking football before this season at all, not by a long stretch.
They kicked 4 goals for the entirety of last week against Fremantle. They've already got 4, and they win it out of the middle again as Tim Kelly from 50 fires towards goal and misses to the right-hand side for a minor score. So the Eagles are 4-3-27, the Western Bulldogs 1-1-7, 19 gone first quarter. Last week, West Coast kicked 4 goals, 9 in the entire game. So they're on early.
Oh, dangerous short kick into Treloar. He might have been bundled over. Umpire says play on. Yo picks it up and bounces it through. Oh, this is an early turn up for the ages. 5-3-33. They lead the Dogs 1-1-7, 19 minutes into the first, and they've outscored their total from last week.
The exciting thing for West Coast is when you control a game like this early, often it can be hard to hit the scoreboard, but they are making the most of every opportunity they're getting at the moment. Fantastic.
They scored 4-9-33 against the Dockers last week, as Jess alluded to, and they've kicked 5-3-33 in the opening 19 minutes today.
They've had 10 inside 50s and they've scored 8 times.
Tim Kelly as well, 9 disposals, 3 inside 50s, 6 score involvements and a behind already. It's prime for a big day. What can the Dogs respond with? Back in the middle, Bailey Williams wins it out of the middle, sends it to a pack inside forward 50. It's brought to ground. English collects his hand pass looking for Vandermeer. Couldn't take it cleanly, but it's a push in the back. Advantage is paid to the Dogs as Bailey Smith runs off halfback, sends it down the line, looking for Waitman, knocked away from him. Ball in dispute on the wing. McRae's in there for the Dogs, applying the pressure. Gaff has a go for the Eagles. Plenty of numbers around this ball, and we will have a ball up on the logo. Dockside wing. West Coast Eagles have started strongly. 26 points the margin in their favour.
Incredible to see here on Grandstand AFL. Deeply concerning if you're a Dog. Bailey Smith with a free kick on the wing. Eagles by 26. You're hearing that correct. Smith goes short to Treloar. He'll wheel around the man on the mark. Drive it long to full forward. West launches. Gathers on the bounce, then stripped of it in the tackle. He goes again at ground level, but holding the ball. Umpire Alini T paying it out there today with Ray Chamberlain, Harrison Birch and Cameron Jones, the umpires. Eagles by 26.
Witherden kicks long to the wing. Jack Williams from behind. Couldn't complete the mark. Picked up by Petrescu-Seaton, who bullets it down the line looking for Long. Mark is paid. He gives it back to Petrescu-Seaton. A wobbly kick to half forward at the feet of Darling, who follows up at ground level. Hand passes inboard to Tim Kelly. Has a couple to beat. A wonderful smother by Jones. Ricochets down to... it is Cole there, who was dispossessed, holding the ball. Free kick to the Dogs at halfback, going the way of Jones.
A great solo effort there by Jones. First the smother, then the tackle. Hopefully that will lift him and inspire his teammates to be better defensively.
Dogs trying to run it off halfback. Caleb Daniel peeling out a kick to the City wing. Finding Duray on the logo. Doc goes long towards Lobby. Hands to it, can't mark. Comes down at ground level. Handball to Ugle-Hagan. On the fly, he misses left.
Man in the goal square.
Misses the lot too. If he could kick straight, he'd be winning the Coleman. Jamari Ugle-Hagan, Eagles still by 26.
He had players alongside him, but he had a teammate all alone in the goal square for the handball over the top. Elected the shot, put it out on the full. He owes his team now.
Gaff kicks to Allen at half-back. He'll wind up and kick it long to a contest down the line. Big fist coming from Jones. Brings it to ground. Waitman was clattered into by Hunt. No free kick. He eventually is knocked out of bounds, so we'll have a ball in next to the two benches. here at Docklands Stadium. West Coast by 26 points. Time on in this first quarter. Smashed last week by Fremantle by 101 points. They've certainly come out to play here early.
High scoring opening term for the Eagles this year. English taking it out of the ruck for the Dogs, kicking inside 50 at pitches and tumbles out. Umpire says spin it in.
We saw an incident last night that was almost identical to that was paid insufficient intent. Riddle me that.
I think this one's right, to be fair.
This one's
Last
right.
night.
Last
was
night,
wrong.
yeah.
Absolutely. But yeah, that's where my mind went to, Jess. English in front, laying it down to Bontempelli. Shovels out a handball. McRae after it. Handball to Bailey Williams. On his back, he gets a handball out. The Eagles arrive in numbers. McRae on the tackle. And the ball up. Left half forward. Here for the Western Bulldogs, who have conceded 5 of the opening 6 goals to the bottom-placed West Coast Eagles with their season on the line.
Bailey Williams rises high in ruck, but only as far as Daniel, who gives it to English. Jams it on the boot inside forward 50. And Vandermeer got a hand in there, but it spills to Marek of the Eagles. Kicks a high ball to the wing. Darling will attack it, but Jones with another spoil sends it over the line for a boundary throw-in. Dockside wing. West Coast by 26 points. 25 gone opening term on Grandstand AFL.
What I like about West Coast at the stoppages is that they're pretty much going to the Western Bulldogs players and shutting them down and then winning the football as well.
Bailey J. Williams in the ruck for the Eagles. Palms it down in front, but Daniel onto it. Handball back to Treloar. Goes back to Daniel. Handball over his head. Richards is met by Liam Duggan. Didn't like the treatment either. And the Eagles come to let him know about it. Richards slings Tim Kelly to the ground. The umpire will fling it back in. Thrown on the wing. Eagles by 26.
Williams and English and ruck. Williams just got rid of English. That's not easy to do. Then gives it to Hewitt, who's just possessed. Duggan picks the footy up. He's brought to ground. And we'll have a stoppage on the wing.
Just great swarming defence there by the Eagles. When the ball spreads, they're getting there faster than what the Western Bulldogs players are.
Whistle on play, free kick for a ruck infringement going the Eagles' way. Bailey Williams to take the free kick on the wing. Send the Eagles forward again. 11 inside 50s they've had in this opening term. This time he kicks it straight into Jack Williams or Bailey Williams of the Western Bulldogs. And he can take off. Has a couple of bounces on the wing. Will send the Western Bulldogs into attack. Norton has 3 to beat. Witherden across the pack with a fist. Sends it over the line for a throw-in, 20 around from the Dogs' goal.
What about that? Bailey Williams kicked it into Bailey Williams on the mark.
It's going to get me all day, I think.
His
2 Bailey Williams, 1 Jack Williams.
His middle initial stands for Jai, for those wondering. The West Coast Eagles, Bailey J. Williams.
I played all my junior football with his dad.
Did you?
And a little bit at St Kilda. His dad played a couple of games with Carlton.
Throw in on the wing. He flicks it down. Bailey J. Williams, and now the Eagles emerge with it. Hewitt will kick into the middle of the ground. Halter there for the Dogs. Brings it down to ground level. Has Duray in support. Feeds him a handball. Handball to Richards in the bullseye of Docklands. He'll drive the Dogs long inside 50. Through the hands there of Witherden. Jamara. Handball away to Norton, who's tackled. Taken to ground by Bailey J. Williams. And he's got him holding the ball.
Again, a handball out by Norton to English waiting on the outside. They're getting a little bit selfish, these Western Bulldogs forwards.
Bailey Williams has started very well for the Eagles. He flares his kick out wide to Duggan, still inside defensive 50. Will now bomb it long down the line. Darling will attack this contest. O'Donnell right there with him. Daniel has a go for the Dogs. He picks it up. And tackled by a couple of Eagles, and we'll have a stoppage at left half forward for the Western Bulldogs. It's West Coast by 26 points late in this first term. English and Bailey Williams in ruck. And we'll have another stoppage as Bailey Williams of the Dogs is caught in a tackle.
Umpire puts it up. English palming it down straight to Kelly. He shovels out a handball, and Treloar quickly there for the Dogs. Handball to Bont, handball to Caleb Daniel. He takes it out, a throw in on the wing. It'll only be the 5th opening term that the West Coast Eagles have won this year.
It's come on the back of their two things. Their pressure has been enormous. Every time a Dogs player picks it up, they're swarming all over him, and then they're using it in a really attacking fashion when they do get it.
English and Bailey J. Williams.
Again,
Williams able to flick it down, and Scott taken high for the Dogs.
It was stiff, but two players really attacked the guy with the footy, and it's really impressive stuff from the Eagles.
Back from concussion a fortnight ago, Tony Scott. Free kick on the logo. On that left foot, sends the Dogs inside 50. Lob launching at it through his hands. Norton at the back. His handball goes straight to McGovern. The Eagles come away with it through Kelly.
From half-back, kicks in the Darling direction. Jones again from behind with the spoil. It ricochets down to Edwards, who kicks in board to Keith. He chips it to Dale, defensive side of the centre circles. We send it straight up the corridor. It's a bullet inside forward 50. Through the hands of Ugle-Hagan. Out the back is Jones for the Eagles. He chips out wide. Duray is there, had a fumble, picked up by Marrick, gives it to Cole. He gets the hand pass out to Hunt. Now they have some room to move on the outer wing. Hunt, sweeping hand pass to Williams, and now to Chesser. His kick inside forward 50 is a little ill-directed, and Liam Jones takes the intercepting grab for the Dogs.
Jones will go back to Keith at fullback. 29 minutes into the first, the Eagles by 26.
And McGovern's down behind play for the Eagles, and it's not sure whether it's a shoulder or what, but he got crunched heavily.
Looks very sore, and the umpires are going to stop the play again. This has been a recent trend. I'm not sure why they've been stopping the play with the ball nowhere near the vicinity of the injured player.
Should be just where the direction the ball's heading in.
I think they were thinking he's going to kick it in that direction. Good news for McGovern, he's jogging off now, but that right shoulder does look quite painful, but he's managing a jog, which is a good sign.
Got cleaned up by Witherden and Ugle-Hagan. Become an increasing trend, the umpires stopping the play in these moments. So Bailey Williams of the Dogs with the free kick backward of the logo goes back to Keith.
He can continue the switch to the city side and finds O'Donnell, who can take off. Runs to the wing, a long searching kick inside forward 50. Hunt against Scott. Hunt sends it over the line for a throw in. 50 around from the Dogs' goal. They trail West Coast by 26 points. So we took over 30 minutes now into this first quarter.
Hopefully just a stinger for Jeremy McGovern. Luke Beveridge running around the boundary. Wants to address his troops. English double palms it down onto it. Baker for the Dogs at half forward. Handball to Bailey Smith. Hooks the ball into the pocket. Lob goes up. This time he brings it down. Got his hands on a couple. Hasn't been able to hold them. This time he does. Set shot, 45-degree angle. 30 out, right forward pocket.
Too tall, and he's allowed to stretch his arms out like that, and with room to launch into the ball. Not many defenders are going to be able to spoil that.
This is why they got him, to kick goals like this. And he does it. Celebrates simultaneously with the kick. David Roden between the sticks is smiling. And the Bulldogs fans might feel a little less nervous. It's back to 20 points. 5-3-33 plays 2-1-13. 31 and a half into the opening term.
We certainly needed that. Time in forward half, the last 10 minutes has been 65% for the Bulldogs, but haven't been able to hit the scoreboard. So a good, fairly tight angle from 40 metres out. It's sort of 50-50 these days whether they get kicked or not, but went back and put it straight through the middle. So important goal there for the Bulldogs. They're starting to wrestle back momentum a little bit. They're getting field position back on the Eagles. It's important the Eagles finish off this quarter really well and don't give up any of this lead that they've built.
Back in the middle we go. It's an ugly bounce.
I could have done that.
That will certainly be recalled. Didn't get elevation. Went pretty much directly sideways. Tosses it up this time. English straight down to Bontempelli. Kicks up towards half forward. Cole with the fist brings it to ground. Gaff chasing after it for the Eagles. Close to the line. Has Baker for company. West picks it up and he's pushed over the line for a throw in at right half forward for the Western Bulldogs. Time for a late goal either side. It's West Coast by 20 and 32 minutes gone now in this first quarter.
Umpire brings it back in. English able to knock it down. Soccering it on Baker, inside 50 here for the Dogs. Bounces through a few. Out the back, Waitman. Norton coming the other way. Keeps it in front at half forward. Handball to Dale. Bites off a kick towards full forward. The Eagles drop the mark through Gaff. It allows in the Dogs. In goes West. Handball out to Norton. Has to gather. Does and snaps it through. The Dogs are finally up and running. A couple of late goals make this first term a little more palatable. 5-3-33 the Eagles. The Dogs 3-1-19. It's back to 14 on the stroke of quarter time.
Wasn't pretty, but this is where the Dogs are at the moment. Just got to force the ball forward and assume it'll be a weight of numbers which will get the scoreboard ticking over. Norton just fumbled the ball onto his boot. Clever goal in the end. It's a reasonably tight angle.
So Aaron Norton with his 41st goal this season. An important one for the Dogs. Close to quarter time. It's been a quarter dominated by the Eagles. They got out to 26-point lead. Dogs are the last two. Back in the middle. Yo chasing after it. He's pushed off it by Waitman. Williams collects, gives it to Treloar, and now Bontempelli looping hand pass looking for English. Chopped off by Petricelli, who follows up with a wonderful tackle on Smith. Ball spills loose, picked up by Treloar. Hacks it forward. Norton will have a jump at this. Off hands, Bontempelli roves. High kick towards full forward, Ugle-Hagan. It spills to ground. Ugle-Hagan, hand passes to Richards, and now to Dale. 40 out, fires on goal and misses. On the stroke of quarter time, brings the margin back to 13 points at the first break. It is West Coast 5-3-33 to the Western Bulldogs 3-2-20. Goal kickers for the Eagles, 2 to Oscar Allen and singles to Yo, Cripps and Darling, and for the Western Bulldogs, singles to Lobb, Scott and Norton.
So who would have thought it? The West Coast Eagles leading at quarter time by 13 points over the Western Bulldogs. They kicked 5 of the opening 6 goals of the game after they kicked the first 3. The thoughts of our experts Nathan Burke and Brad Sewell after this. This is Grandstand AFL.
ABC Listen.
A Russian chef marches on Moscow. The Thai military attempts to hold on to power and prop up an oddball king. And an American ex-president stores classified documents in a toilet and a ballroom. Those plans all backfired, didn't they? I'm Matt Bevan. Join me for a new season of the podcast, If You're Listening, helping you make sense of major news events shaping our world with new episodes weekly. Hear it right now on the ABC Listen app.
Grandstand AFL.
Now streaming every match on the ABC Listen app.
Look for the AFL button.
Tim Kelly sends the Eagles into attack. Allen on the long lead has got it. Here he is on the approach. Looks pretty good off the boot. And that's a superb start to the Eagles.
Soccering it on Kelly. Out towards Marek. Handball to Allen. Dumps it on the right boot. Snaps it on goal. Through for his second. And the Eagles are absolutely on beneath the roof.
And I haven't seen them play this type of attacking football before this season at all, not by a long stretch.
Dangerous short kick into Treloar. He might have been bundled over. Umpire says play on. Yo picks it up and bounces it through. Oh, this is an early turn up for the ages.
They are making the most of every opportunity they're getting at the moment.
Dale bites off a kick towards full forward. The Eagles drop the mark through Gaff. It allows in the Dogs. In goes West. Handball out to Norton. Has to gather. Does and snaps it through. The Dogs are finally up and running. A couple of late goals make this first term a little more palatable.
The 2023 AFL season.
On radio,
ABC Sport Digital.
and now streaming on the ABC Listen app.
So the Dogs might have saved themselves from an absolute berating from Luke Beveridge with a couple of late goals, but still the Eagles 5-3-33 lead them 3-2-20. Nathan Burke, Brad Sewell, our experts here on Grandstand AFL.
Berkey, it's nice to see the Bulldogs come alive there late. It was a very slow start, not to take anything away from West Coast. They jumped the gun, they controlled the ball, had a lot of disposal, and most importantly, hit the scoreboard. and put a little bit of pressure on the Western Bulldogs for the first half of that quarter. Bontempelli started to get quite a bit more of the ball. English was getting involved. Norton, Nugelhagen, forward of the ball, was starting to get a chance as the Bulldogs worked their way back into the game, Berkey.
They did. I was really impressed with the the West Coast Eagles at the start of the game. Both sides of the game, their pressure was enormous. Whenever the ball spilled, it was the West Coast really pushing over. They're getting extra numbers there. If a Bulldog player picked it up, they were swarmed on, they were tackled. And then when they had it, they actually went whoosh straight down the middle of the ground. Tim Kelly was outstanding that quarter. He ended up with 13 possessions and kicked the ball inside 50. He had 6 score involvements in that first quarter, which was incredible effort. An open forward line, and they were just... It was a powerful team, really. They were running so quickly. Then the Western Bulldogs started to just get back momentum. Started to win the loose ball, started to win the clearances. In the end, they got their noses in front, 12-11 in terms of the clearances. So I think that was where the ball started to get locked into their front half a bit more, putting the West Coast Eagles defenders under repeat pressure. And eventually the dam broke just a couple of times, and unlucky not to be another goal for the Western Bulldogs there at the end. So question is, can the Eagles regain that first 15-minute form? Was it just a one out of the box, let's get up for a really big start, or is that how they're going to play this whole game? Because if they're going to stay in it, they need to play that both sides. Strong defence and attacking football. For the Western Bulldogs, I think Luke Beveridge is just sort of saying, hey guys, cobwebs off now, you're shaking them off. We're in a game of footy. I know we're playing the team who's last on the ladder, but you know what, there's a lot riding on this, and we need to pick up our game and play our type of footy.
If you'd seen that opening term just in complete isolation, you would not believe that is the team that is bottom of the ladder with just 2 wins for the season.
No, they look good when they're chaining the handball through the middle of the ground. Bulldogs started to get back on top when Jones was able to come over third man for the Western Bulldogs and repel some of their long kicks down the line.
Sully and I had the pleasure a couple of weeks ago of going down to Hobart and seeing Melbourne and North Melbourne. And it's very reminiscent of that sort of game. North Melbourne came out of the blocks hard and tough and fast, and Melbourne, it took them a quarter to sort of go, oh, okay, let's start playing now. When they did, they sort of blew them away for the next 3 quarters. So let's see whether it's a very, very similar pattern to that one.
Did the flight back leave on time?
Yes, that one did.
That one, first time ever, okay. I think. Yeah.
Very rarely do, Berkey. We had a 4-hour delay. Good wait at Hobart Airport.
Yeah, I noticed you didn't come down the next time I went.
Sounds like
had it written out of my contract. Eagles by 13 points over the Western Bulldogs. A surprise start in this opening term. Second quarter underway. English goes up, slaps it down, and the Eagles are out of the middle through Yo on the burst. He drives it long towards Allen. Jones comes across, fists it away. Vandermeer tracks it, and he sees it out. We'll get a throw in right forward pocket here for the West Coast Eagles.
If that's not a free kick against Oscar Allen in the back, I don't know what is.
Could not have shoved him any more. Interesting to note, Jeremy McGovern not on the bench, not out on the ground, so down in the rooms getting assessed as Bailey J. Williams slaps it away for the Eagles towards full forward. Onto it, Allen, trying to sniff out a goal. He can't quite. Through for a behind. 14 points. The advantage the way of the Eagles, and early attacking in the second again.
Need to make the most of those opportunities. That wasn't hard in the end. As they're 15 metres out, pretty much dead in front with a snap. Got to make the most of those opportunities.
Dale with the kick in for the Dogs, finds McRae in the back pocket. Will kick long to Norton, and Yo on the wing. Norton in front position. Couldn't bring in the mark, waiting at ground level, set upon immediately, and we've got a stoppage. 5-3 in the opening quarter, the way the Eagles skipped out to a 26-point lead at one stage. Dogs have kicked the last 2 of the game. Bailey J. Williams in ruck. Palms it down straight to McRae. His hand pass partially deflected by Petrevski-Seaton. Almost a push in the back from English. Umpire lets it play. Bailey Williams had a fresh airy. And now ball is held up. Left half forward for the West Coast Eagles.
Umpire puts it up. English and Bailey J. Williams both miss it. Then turn tackler. Now it's Williams on McRae. Another ball up. Up go the rucks again. English swatting it down towards Bontempelli. Loses it under pressure. Straight to Bailey J. Williams. Kicks the Eagles to half forward. Daniel onto it. There for the Western Bulldogs. Releases Keith, who releases Dale. Now tracks back. Interesting looking bounce. And a floating kick to Bailey Williams for the Dogs, who'll go down the wing.
Runs his full measure and then bullets the pass to half forward. Norton makes the contest. Spills down the way of Vandermeer. Can get on the right foot. Curls it towards half forward. Getting back and filling the hole is Hewitt, the Rising Star nominee for the West Coast Eagles. Gives it to Rothen. Bloods off a dangerous kick, but it finds Marek at centre half back. Aaron Norton looking a little ginger. He's in the hands of the trainers at the moment, coming to the bench as Marek hand passes to Rothen inside the centre square. Will kick out wide. Looking for Darling, who's found some space just forward of the wing.
Darling wants to move it on towards Hunt. He marks 55 out, wide out at half forward. Doesn't show a lot of urgency to get it inside 50, so dabs it short. Mark taken by Edwards. He'll try and centre it to Petrevski-Seton, who bobs up in a hole in the Western Bulldogs defence. And he marks 30 out, as good as directly in front.
How are you reviewing that ball move, Bergie?
Oh, the ball move was good, but the defence from the Western Bulldogs was atrocious. They had Waitman and Bontempelli and a few others. What forwards tend to do is when they go down into their defensive half, they don't tend to pick anyone up. They just go, I'll go down here and fill a hole and hopefully get the ball, and that's what happened.
Petrevski-Seton vibing in the yellow long sleeves. He can't finish. He misses right. 15 points the Eagles' advantage. What do you think of those sleeves, gents? And you too, Jess, if you...
Probably no need for them under the roof here, I wouldn't have thought. But Aaron Norton's gone straight down the race, limping very heavily on that left leg.
Dale with a kick into Keith at half back. He tried to play on. His hand pass was smothered by Allen. Keith picks it up. He gives it to Bontempelli. He gets on the left boot towards half forward to a contest. Scott, is that going to be a mark paid? It is. A juggling attempt. Now gives it to Bontempelli, who sends him inside 50. Waiten's out the back. But it will come back. They've gotten goal side, the Dogs.
Yeah, Bont should know better than that. You can't
play on
take the advantage from the mark.
So it'll come back to Scott, just forward of the wing, out of side. West Coast by 15.
Jeremy McGovern back out on the bench for the Eagles.
Kicks to a pack inside 50. English! Sticks the hands up and reels in a mark, 40 from home.
Disappointing for West Coast. English went up almost for an uncontested mark there. There was no body contact. It was such a big frame.
So Tim English in contention for All-Australian this season. He'll shoot from about 45 out. 45-degree angle left of centre. For 3 in a row to the Dogs. English steers it through beautifully. The West Coast lead is cut to 9 points. 5-5-35 plays the Dogs 4-2-26. 5 minutes gone, second term on Grandson AFL. Nathan Burke and Brad Sewell, your experts.
Just looking at Tim English just trotting into the forward line there. And I'm not sure where Bailey Williams was. He was on the other half forward line. He's got to track the big ruckman into that forward line and at least make it a contest, because in the end that was an uncontested mark.
Had a good opening term against him, Bailey J. Williams, but Tim English able to hit the scoreboard there. Long been linked to the West Coast Eagles, I think just by virtue of the fact that he's from WA, and Nanui's time coming to an end. Back in the middle, Bailey J. Williams and English again. Bailey J. Williams taps it down to Kelly. Handball to Petruccelli. Runs an arc. High ball, shallow inside 50 for the Eagles. Jones marks. He's been so reliable down back for the Dogs, not just today, but all season. He kicks to the wing.
Kicks out wide to English. Had it knocked away from him illegally by Bailey Williams. So we'll take the free kick at left half back. Chips on the 45 to Caleb Daniel. As Bontempelli short, thought about it and ignored him. Set up for a switch here if they want. Daniel elects to instead go for a run close to the boundary line. It kicks up towards half forward to a contest, and it's a turnover. Cole with the intercepting grab for the Eagles and sends it backwards to Rotham.
Rotham goes for a little run, kicks across half-back, and Darling presenting, getting back inside defensive 50. Will then kick it laterally back to Rotham. Rotham will send it out close to the boundary line, and Witherden, former Lion, stabs it short to Cole. Cole at right half-back will go back to Rotham. Eagles chipping it around in a kick mark game style, and short to Gaff. Inside their defensive arc, they lead by 9 points. They led by as many as 26. Dogs with the last 3 goals.
Gaff short to Edwards and now to Yo. They're still at half-back, and he'll swing it across to this dockside of the ground to Rotham, who then hand passes inboard to Gaff, who flares his kick out wide to left half-back and finds Darling. They still haven't gotten it past half-back. Darling now chips it over the top to Chesser, who's marked defensive side of the wing close to the boundary. Fans are getting a little restless in the stands. Chesser down the line, a 2-on-1 favouring the Eagles. Hewitt rose high, couldn't come down with a mark. It spills out of play for a throw-in. Just forward of halfway on this dock side of the ground. Eagles by 9 points.
It's called to play on there, Chesser, and no one knew.
The crowd knew because they were yelling at Bont to go and get him, but he wasn't listening either.
Umpire spins it in. Bailey J. Williams down to Kelly, running the wrong way, runs to the logo. Now stops and kicks the Eagles to half forward. Petrevsky-Seaton taking the mark. Under a little bit of pressure from Daniel. He'll kick centrally for Jaden Hunt, and a beautifully weighted pass. Hunt marks 40 out directly in front.
Tim Kelly again. The impetus for that foray forward, strong clearance, found some time, found some space, and a clever kick to Petrevsky-Seaton.
Again, as the Western Bulldogs half forwards not pushing down quickly or deeply enough into their backline.
Former D looking for a 50th goal in AFL footy, but more importantly, to stem the Bulldogs' flow, Jaden Hunt delivers. With the set shot, and the Eagles back out by 15 points. Ends a run of 3 consecutive goals from the Western Bulldogs, 6-5-41, plays 4-2-26, 9 minutes into the second term.
Yeah, really well done by Kelly at the stoppage. He's up to 15 possessions now. He's had 3 inside 50, 7 scoring involvements, and 4 clearances. He's just been really lively, and that's all he needs to do. He's such a good footballer. If he puts in the required effort, he's going to impact pretty much every game that he plays. But again, Luke Beveridge won't be happy with his half forwards. Waitman was down there, Bailey Smith was down there, but they're guarding space, leaving holes for the Eagles players to run into, and that's the second time they've had a shot from inside 50 that they shouldn't have got.
The Jaden Hunt goal stops a run of 3 in a row, either side of quarter time to the Dogs. Back in the middle we go. Yo gets around Trelaw, caught by Daniel, just got the hand pass out to Petruccelli. Finds some space, gets around Daniel, has a bounce, hand pass a little wayward for Hunt. Bailey Smith applying the pressure, is picked up by Petruccelli, who gives it to Hunt from the outer wing. Can kick the Eagles back into attack to the pocket. Allen's on the end of it. He's marked 45 out, close to the boundary.
Bit of mucking around by West Coast there. It's just some poor skill errors. A basic handball hitting the deck. But Hunt, such a strong runner off half back. Clever kick to advantage to what's going on.
He's got 2 goals already, Oscar Allen, in the opening quarter. 48 goals now for the season. It's a tough shot from the boundary on the outer side. He'll cross the paint of 50 and didn't give it much of a chance out of bounds on the full for a kick to the Dogs in the left back pocket.
Is that the worst set shot for goal he's had all year? It's such a reliable kick.
Had a heck of a year and a pretty poor side. 48 goals for Oscar Allen. And as Richards on his left sends it into row G. The Eagles to get it back just forward of the wing. So Cole to take the free kick. Cole will run and kick as long as he can into the pocket. Allen's down there, so too Bailey J. Williams. He knocks it down in the end. Allen follows up at ground level. Handball for Petrevsky-Seaton. Close to the line, he's tackled. Handball away to Cripps, who's tackled by Duray. And he drives him out. Throw in. 45 around from the attacking goal for the Eagles. Just having a few moments of ascendancy. They lead by 15 points. If you joined us late, yes, the Eagles by 15.
English and Williams and ruck again. English in front position. Nice tap down straight to Hewitt of the Eagles. His hand pass too hot for long. Picked up by Duggan. Hand pass to space to Hewitt. He's caught and dispossessed. No free kick. Daniel hand passes into space. Vandermeer against Darling. Neither can take it cleanly. Jones has a go, then turns tackler. It spits out the back to Trelaw. Jams it on the boot down the line. McGovern in position A and takes the intercepting grab for the Eagles. Wants to use the corridor. It's a dangerous kick. Petrevski-Seton couldn't complete the mark. Now wrestles for it with Baker. And we'll have a stoppage inside the centre square.
It was a very speculative kick there from McGovern, but I like it. That's what they've got to keep doing.
Umpire puts it up. Haley J. Williams palming it down onto a Chesser. Has to do a U-turn. Long kick in the Allen direction. Up he goes, hands to it. Lands like a cat. Follows up at half forward for the Eagles. Handball to Duggan, drops it. Goes back and gets it. Handball back to Allen. Time to steady. Looks at the goals. Misses. Oh, they're having a few chances here, the Eagles. Move along to 6-6-42. The Dogs 4-2-26. Eagles by 16.
2 goals, 2 I think now for Oscar Allen early as Dale brings the ball back in for the Dogs, finds English at half back. Kicks down the line. It's not a great kick. He had Bailey Williams in space, but McGovern takes the mark. Hand passes to Chesser from the broadcast wing. Chips it to half forward. Petrevski-Seton couldn't complete the mark. Follows up at ground level. Hand passes to Jones. Crosses the paint of 50. Sees an open goal square. Doesn't have the distance. And O'Donnell marks on the last line of defence.
He wants to send it out towards Baker, who goes up, can't mark. Slapped on by Witherden. Straight to Petruccelli. Eagles in possession, half forward. Handball back to Duggan, chiselling a ball into the pocket. Misses Witherden. And a throw in, 40 around from the Eagles attacking goal. All of a sudden, the Dogs look really flat again.
The Bulldogs have not had an inside 50 this quarter.
Incredible.
They were 17 to 12 at quarter time. And now 17-21.
Yep. It's listed as 9-1.
There you go.
Yeah, Berkey,
9-1.
they might have had one shallow inside 50 as coming away with it. Richards, a long kick to the wing, and somehow Cole nearly takes the mark. Play on, gives it off to Hunt, who will kick the Eagles forward of the wing.
There's a couple of Dogs down as well behind play.
Hugo Hagan and Norton hit each other.
So Gaff can send the Eagles into attack once again. Got 2 tall targets in Darling and Allen. Allen got hands to it. It gets out the back to Caleb Daniel. It gives it to Dale, last line of defence. It's a good clearing kick. West had a fumble, time to regather, pokes it down the line to Waitman. Knocked away from him by McGovern, but he did infringe, so Waitman will take the free kick in front of the 2 benches. West Coast by 16.
Well held up by McGovern. Waitman was almost out. He wanted to play on quickly.
So Waitman on the wing, trying to ignite the Dogs. High ball towards Hugo Hagan. Rotham in from the side, knocks it down. Roving his gaff. Aaron Handball puts with it and under pressure, slaps it away straight to Norton. Forward pocket. Handball to Baker. Baker runs in and goes. Is that a fire starter for the Dogs? Their 5th goal. They move along to 5-2-32. The Eagles 6-6-42. 10 points. West Coast advantage. Quarter hour mark. Second term, Nathan Burke-Bradshaw.
It's becoming obvious how poor some of the West Coast skill errors are. Just a basic handball there to a teammate into space. And clearly just hit the deck.
And a really bad decision by the Eagles defender to actually slap the ball off the ground back into the corridor. I'm not sure what the idea was. They're headed straight to Norton, who handballed off to Baker, ran into open goal. So, yeah, boundary line's your friend. Use it.
Good to see Aaron Norton and Waitman back to their feet after that heavy collision. And we're back in the middle. Lob now in ruck for the Western Bulldogs. Gets it down to Bailey Smith, who can take off, send it into the pocket. It's over the head of Hugo Hagan, out of play. for a ball in, 40 around from the Dogs' goal. They've kicked 2 goals to 1 in the second quarter after West Coast led by 13 at quarter time. Currently it's the Eagles by 10.
Smith sticks up his hand and says, sorry, that was a bad kick, and yes, it was.
Forward 50 stoppage for the Dogs. Try and find something. 2 goals to 1 in the second term. The Eagles had their chances down the other end. Didn't take them. Jack Williams in the ruck. Opposed to Lobb. Lobb takes it out of the ruck. Handball back into the corridor. Edwards there for the Eagles. Handball to Gaff. Clear and kick. O'Donnell, strong at the footy. Takes the mark. 60 out from goal for the Dogs.
Pretty crowded forward 50. Eagles have got numbers back, so he'll have to be smart with his disposal, and that is a great kick to Norton, who couldn't complete the mark. Well done by Cole in the contest, but it spills to Duray, who pokes his kick into the path of Baker, who's floated inside 50 and will line up for a shot at goal 40 out.
What about the leading lane the West Coast Eagles have left open for Norton right up the corridor?
Yep, not great defending. They were lucky that Norton didn't actually mark it. Probably got the just desserts with Oscar Baker having a shot from a similar spot, slightly worse angle, but great kick by young O'Donnell.
So Oscar Baker kicked a goal a couple of moments ago. Measured approach. He'll shoot from 45 out. Slide angle to the left. The kick is on its way. He gets under it a bit. And it's away to the right. Great kick in the end. Through for a minor score margin. 9 points the way the Eagles. 6-6-42 to the Dogs. 5-3-33. 18 played second term on Grandson AFL.
Go to take the kick in for the Eagles. Lamble out towards the back pocket and kick long in the Darling direction. O'Donnell there with him. Jones too. Punches it away, Darling. Dogs at the fall. Dale. Handball to Smith, to Daniel. Kick inside 50. Trying to find Hagan. Ugle-Hagan or West. And it's West at the back who gets the block from Jamara. And he marks plumb in front. 35 out.
Well played by Ugle-Hagan. Subtle enough just to get a body on the inside of the marking contest to provide that block.
Riley West, one of so many second generation Dogs, comes in and misses right. Sprays it out to the right. The Dogs turn to waste some opportunities. Eagles by 8 points. 19.5 into the second.
No excuse to miss, but to miss by so far those last 2 set shots.
Yo, straight up the middle of the ground as a free kick going the way of the Eagles to Duggan. Advantage is paid as Kelly takes off in the centre of the ground. Hand passes to Long and half forward, and they're out the back. Marrick's got space. 15 out from goal, coast to coast from the Eagles.
Tim Kelly again, the man involved for West Coast.
Ryan Marrick, the 18-year-old in his debut season, elects to go with the snap, and he just curls it home. A steadier to the West Coast Eagles. And they're back out to a 14-point advantage. 7-6-48 to the Dogs, 5-4-34. 20 minutes gone, second term on Grandson AFL. Nathan Burke and Brad Sewell.
Well, they played that well. Tim Kelly came bursting through the middle of the Docklands here, had a couple of bounces, but didn't blaze away. Gave the extra handball, which enabled 2 of his actual forwards to get free. Jones didn't know which one to go to. He went to his left one first, opened up the right one, and really good choice kicking the ball forward, and a lovely finish. So from one end of the ground to the other, after they've been under the pump for the last 5 minutes to get a goal, that's a great outcome for the Eagles.
Pick 1 in the mid-season draft. Ryan Marrick. It's 24 kilos over a couple of seasons to get down to his playing weight.
Would have been a big boy.
Get down to his playing weight.
Yeah. He's 24 kilos heavier, seemingly, and cut out potato chips. That was the mail from Ryan Marrick.
Must put a few potato chips away.
Yo, soccering it off the deck towards half forward for the Eagles. Vandermeer leads the race to the footy. Handball for the Dogs, away to Bailey Williams. Handball to Bontempelli, flicks it over the shoulder. Trelaw misses his handball. Has to try and paddle it onto Bontempelli. Goes back and gets it. Handball to Bailey Williams and a short kick to Caleb Daniel. Forward of the centre line, city side of Docklands.
Spears the pass to half forward and finds West. 55 out from goal, will wheel around, kicks into the pocket. Norton's got space. 40 out, 10 in from the boundary. Great vision from Daniel. From West, rather. So West Coast with the last goal of the game. 2 goals each in this second quarter. West Coast led by 13 at quarter time. Norton, a tough shot from the pocket. And he's missing his side. A couple of chances gone begging for the Dogs this quarter. Margin 13 points. West Coast 7-6-48 to the Dogs 5-5-35.
They haven't been able to break them yet. I think the Bulldogs were thinking, we turn the pressure up and we'll get on the board, but it hasn't been that way.
Only led 3 times at half-time this year, the Eagles. Witherden short to McGovern, back to Witherden, short to Gaff. Still inside the defensive arc, gives it to Witherden by hand, who breaks the arc into the centre square, retreats. Handball back to McGovern, he'll kick laterally, hangs it in the air. Gaff just gets to him before lob closes. Gaff will kick sideways out to Duggan. He'll kick it straight back to Gaff. Eagles still at halfback.
Gaff short, inside defensive 50 to McGovern.
This is a tactic that got Western Bulldogs in trouble last week against Hawthorn, but they're pushing much higher up into their own forward line now.
McGovern out wide for Jones. Hand passes defensively to Duggan. Bullets it down the line, but it's a turnover as Baker chops it off for the Western Bulldogs. Marks on the logo. Dockside wing, kicks into the middle of the ground of Bontempelli in a contest with Marek, who's wrapped him up. Bontempelli gets the hand pass free. Picked up by Dale. His hand pass a little too hot for Chalor. Dale goes again. Brought to ground. They're over the top of him. The umpire eventually calls for a ball up at right half forward for the Western Bulldogs. Eagles holding a 13-point lead. Time on second term.
Western Bulldogs don't have a great record when trailing at half-time this year. They've only won 2 of 8 when behind at the main break. Hewitt picks it up for the Eagles. Handball away to Gaff. To Duggan. Kicking forward of the wing and Jack Williams can mark. Does he get it on quickly? Takes his time. Thinks about coming infield. Will go short towards Kelly. Caleb Daniel closing late. The Eagles wide out. Just forward of the wing. Dockside of the stadium, Tim Kelly. Disposal number 17 for him. Long inside 50, looking for Darling. Jones is there again. Jack Williams slaps it on for the Eagles. Richards gathers, snaps beyond defensive 50, and Kelly spoils it away.
Poulter first there for the Dogs. Hand passes to Dale. His kick smothered by Liam Duggan. I think it might be. It is Duggan? Yes. So ball out of play, 50 around from the Eagles' goal. Gain yet to reach any great heights at Docklands. Ball back into play. Williams with the fist down straight to Trelaw. To McRae, who hand passes to Vandermeer. Kick down the line through the hands of Rotham. Ugle-Hagan out the back. Sweeping hand pass to Bailey Smith, who bursts through from the wing. Kick up towards half forward over the head of English. And Yo takes the intercepting grab for the Eagles.
Get a sore arm from putting up his hand to apologise. Bailey Smith apologised again on that kick, but they're forced to turn over the Dogs. They win it back at half forward. Caleb Daniel, handball to West, to Trelaw. Kick charged down by Yo. Ricochets away, live footy inside 50. Nutmegs Witherden, falls to Norton, hits the post. Oh, comedy of errors. They're from all and sundry. Eagles by 12 points late in the first half.
Adam Trelaw got a knock in the head just down in front of us. I think this might have been late in the first or early in the second, and he's just he forgot to how to handball it, just dribbled off his hand. He's dropped a couple of ones in tight. That one there, that should have just been a lob kick over the top to Norton in the goal square, but he kicked it into the player in front of him. He just doesn't seem right.
You worried he's concussed, Berkey?
He's making some uncharacteristic mistakes.
Answer the question, Berkey.
Well, I'd have a look at him.
Contest on the wing is won by the Dogs. Dale kicks laterally inside the centre square to Richards, who can take a bounce. He'll take on Marek. Richards, a long kick inside forward 50. McGovern hands to it, but it spills out the back close to the line. Yo taps it through for a rush behind. Margin now 11 points. West Coast 7-6-48 to the Dogs 5-7-37. 27 gone second term on Grandson AFL.
Good defending there. You got Lobb, Ugelhagen and Norton coming in with the high ball, and to bring it to ground and rush it through. That's good job by the Eagles.
Kick into the back pocket, and Edwards takes it. And goes short to Witherden. Witherden still in the right back pocket for the Eagles. 27 minutes travelled second term. Witherden tight ropes the line with a short kick for Rotham. The Eagles by 11. Rotham will kick long towards the wing. Looking for a marker. O'Donnell launching at it. 2 bites at it, doesn't mark. Kelly in front for the Eagles. Forward handball for Cripps to run onto. Tries to handball to himself. The Dogs arrive through Richards. Halves the contest, sees it out, throwing on the wing. City side of the ground. Closing in on half time, about a minute away.
A lot of Bulldog supporters sitting in that lower deck with their arms folded, just sort of sitting very pensively, not quite happy with what's going on.
Bailey J. Williams in English and ruck. English with the tap. McRae has a fumble. Allows Cripps in, gives it to Jones from the centre square, kicks to full forward. Allen couldn't complete the mark. Goes to ground, they all dive on top of him. And we'll have a stoppage, 20 out from the Eagles' goal. West Coast by 13 at quarter time. 2 goals apiece in this second quarter. Now a chance for the Eagles in attack.
English swatting it straight down to O'Donnell. Squeezes the kick out. Falls to Jermaine Jones for the Eagles. Tackled quickly. Threw it out. Umpire lets them play. Gaff knocks it on. Hunt onto it. Floats a kick to full forward. Knocking it down Bontempelli. Dogs are there through English to Treloar to Bontempelli. Sweeping a handball to Waitman. And a relieving kick to the wing and lob.
He's got a lot to kick to. Norton short. He heads in that direction. And he marks in front of the interchange gates. Wants to play on and move it quickly. Gets on the left, sends it to half forward. Ugelhagen has to make a contest from behind, but he gives away the free kick against Witherden for high contact. And Witherden can kick short to Hunt at left half back. Right on the stroke of half time here at Docklands Stadium. And it is the Eagles in control at half time. They lead by 11, 7-6-48 to the Western Bulldogs, 5-7-37. Your goal kickers for the Eagles, Oscar Allen has a couple and singles to Hunt, Yo, Cripps, Darling and Marrick. And for the Western Bulldogs, all singles, Lobb, Baker, Scott, Norton and English.
Well, no one arriving at the Docklands today was expecting this. The West Coast Eagles, with virtually nothing to play for and actually things to lose if they win today against the Western Bulldogs, with their season on the line. The Eagles leading by 11 points at half-time. 7-6-48, plays 5-7-37. Nathan Burke, Australian Football Hall of Famer. Brad Sewell, dual premiership Hawk. How have they done it?
Their effort and intensity. I think a different mode of play as well. They've been really happy to play on quickly through the corridor. They've taken some risky kicks at times, which haven't paid off. They've been happy to run from their back half and chain the handball when they've got the opportunity. They've been happy to hold onto the ball and switch deep in their own half until they find that chance to go through the middle part of the ground. And conversely, the Western Bulldogs have probably been equally as disappointing as West Coast have been impressive. They've been second to the ball. They just haven't shown the intensity or the want or the hunger that we expected to see from them today, considering what was on the line. Tim Kelly's been clearly the best player on ground. His run and drive for West Coast has provided a number of forward 50 entries. Have you seen it, Berkey?
Yeah, exactly that. I think the effort of West Coast Eagles has been outstanding, and for probably one of the few times I've seen this year, they look like they've got a lot of pace. They're actually using and running their pace, but it's not just pace with the football and running and carrying the ball. It's pace to close down their opponent. Every time the Western Bulldogs look like they're out a little bit, they're really zooming after them and just putting pressure on the kicker, or they're zooming back into defence really, really well. So they're actually running both ways, and This year, you can't obviously say that they've been doing that a lot, especially when they've been getting thumped. They haven't been running defensively. So whatever Adam Simpson has spoken to them about this week in terms of two-way running, being a defender as well as an attacker, they've certainly grasped that, and they're doing it really, really well. So the key is that they've got to keep that defensive style going and not lean too much on the attacking style, because we know that if you give the Western Bulldogs an inch, they'll take it and they can score pretty heavily pretty quickly. But at the moment, they've got both sides of the game working really, really well.
Don't want to get ahead of ourselves here, but just for reference, if the Dogs lose, it means Saints are locked into finals, the Swans are locked into finals, and it means GWS and Western Bulldogs will fight for that last 8th spot next week, and the Dogs will have to beat Geelong and Geelong to make finals. So we speak about lots on the line, and it's just a golden opportunity for the Dogs. And even when you look at their past 6, they've only won 2 of their past 6. So their form hasn't been too great in recent weeks. They look a little bit lethargic out there, do you think?
Yeah, I think Luke Beveridge made the point that, but we've lost by only a kick in all of those games, so we've been okay, just not quite getting over the line, which is a little bit of a cover-up for the disappointing play that they've had. It's certainly been up in some of those games by 35 points. I think they're up against 36 points against the Giants in the second half and got done. So, at the moment, it's almost like, okay, Bont, you're going to do it for us. You're going to step up. And look, he's had 12, but he's been serviceable. Hasn't really troubled the scorers or been up that end of the ground. A lot of handballs. There's no Libba. I think they're missing his grunt certainly in this game, but they're just playing the game. There's nobody there who's going, we need to change the way this game. We need to match the Eagles' intensity, and then we'll let our skill and our better overall players go from there. But at the moment, I think they're just waiting for someone to step up. And Norton hasn't been great up forward. Ugal Hagen's only touched the ball 4 times. They had the 1 kick. Lobbs kicked 1 goal, but hasn't really done anything. So, and the small players haven't done anything either. So they're waiting. They've got to make it happen.
It would be completely and utterly inexcusable if they lost this game. With their season on the line and the team that they have, which is already under-delivered this year, to lose to this iteration of the West Coast Eagles, which is as bad a team as we've seen in a long, long time, it would be unforgivable, and I think would probably cause some significant rumblings at Western Bulldogs board level. This is a big half-time for the Western Bulldogs to try and sort this out. And, I mean, it's only the 4th time the Eagles have led at half-time. The Western Bulldogs have trailed at halftime 8 times this year and only twice have turned it around. So they're not outstanding at turning around the momentum in this game. This is a big story developing on a Sunday afternoon beneath the roof at Docklands. Just some news from the other game. Jai Newcomb laid out with a hamstring injury for the Hawks. Henry Huswaite is in on debut. So we watch with interest that fixture.
Good on him. Young Henry, his father was the best man at my wedding.
Really?
He was. So,
you know everyone, Berkey.
Who don't you know?
Actually, Paul Williams' father and Henry's father. Bailey's father,
yep.
Paul, and Henry's father. The 3 of us all played all our junior football together. So it's fantastic. He was picked to go sort of round about 20 in the draft, and he just kept drifting sort of out to around about 37 or so. And it's wonderful for him to get a run.
Tell us about him. What kind of player is he, Berkey?
He's a left foot kick, absolutely smooth, beautiful mover. He's a bit like a Bontempelli, where Bontempelli doesn't look like he's running fast. Henry doesn't really look like he's running fast, but he's a really smart player, makes the right decision, very clean with his ball use and things like that. So fantastic. His older brother was captain of the NAB AFL under-18 Stingrays team, who won the grand final. And he won the best and fairest and didn't get drafted. He's now a captain of Collingwood VFL team. Excellent player as well. So coming from down Rosebud Way, the family will be absolutely ecstatic.
It's great news for Henry Huswaite and the family. If you're a Dogs fan, maybe just go for a 5-minute walk, take some deep breaths, take in the news, and we'll come back with the second half. The Eagles leading by 11 points at halftime on Grandstand AFL. Let's pause and get the latest from the ABC newsroom.
ABC News with Satyam Weinstein. Foreign Minister Penny Wong has laughed off suggestions only union members will get jobs linked to the AUKUS nuclear-powered submarine deal. Senior government ministers have told Labour's National Conference in Brisbane that thousands of union jobs will be needed to build the submarines, but Senator Wong says that just reflects the reality of unions being very well organised.
I don't recall that ever being part of our procurement processes, but my point is, I think the unions are a very important part of the tripartite approach to making sure we improve our national capability, which is what AUKUS is about.
Authorities in the Canadian province of British Columbia have doubled the number of people under evacuation orders amid massive wildfires. 35,000 people have been ordered to leave their homes as authorities warn of difficult days ahead. The blazes are threatening the towns of Kelowna and West Kelowna. West Kelowna Fire Chief Jason Brolin says they were initially called to a house fire.
They found 3 houses were burning, all next to each other. The fire was expanding up the hill. It was threatening hundreds of homes above those 3. And we had multiple fire engines involved in combating 3 single-family house fires, which on a normal day for us is a massive operation.
Evacuations have been ordered as a wildfire threatens the city of Spokane in the U.S. state of Washington. The blazes killed 1 person, destroyed 185 buildings and closed a major highway. Authorities say it's quickly growing in size and there is zero containment in place. A hurricane bearing down on Southern California has been downgraded to a Category 2 storm. Hilary is likely to be the first tropical storm to make landfall in the region in 84 years. The U.S. National Hurricane Center is predicting catastrophic flooding for Mexico's Baja California Peninsula, much of Southern California, and east to Nevada and Arizona. Heavy rain and strong winds have already set in and power outages are expected. Tens of millions of people are in the path of the storm. The leader of the military junta in Niger says any transition of power will happen within 3 years, but he's warning against foreign military intervention. It comes after a meeting with a delegation from the West African regional bloc ECOWAS. The BBC's Chris Ikawar reports.
In what appears to be a further defiance of the West Africa regional bloc, General Abdrahmani Chani outlined a 3-year transition plan for Niger, but warned that a military intervention would not be easy. If an attack were to be undertaken against us, it will not be the walk in the park some people seem to think, he said in a televised address. The West Africa Regional Bloc has repeatedly warned of military action if diplomatic efforts to resolve the crisis are unsuccessful, but has not outlined any specific plan. The delegation also briefly met with the ousted president, Mohamed Bazoum, who remains under detention since the coup.
North Melbourne AFL player Jack Zeeble has suffered facial and head injuries in what's being described as an unprovoked attack. Fraser Fife with the story.
Jack Zeeble was celebrating his retirement with teammates and staff at a South Yarra bar in Melbourne's inner southeast after playing his last game against Richmond yesterday. Police say the 32-year-old was leaving the Commercial Road venue around 1 a.m. when he was pushed onto the road. He was then punched in the face and kicked while on the ground by 3 men. The offenders fled the scene. Zeeble has spent the night in hospital with police investigating whether the assault may have been linked to an earlier altercation inside the venue which led to the 3 men being removed. North Melbourne Football Club has described the incident as an unprovoked attack.
A southern right whale mother and calf have been spotted near Sydney's eastern suburbs. The endangered pair are continuing their southern journey and are resting in shallow waters off Malabar Beach. Undisturbed time in shallow, sandy bottom bays and protected beaches is essential for southern right whale calves. Fans have paid tribute to the Matildas at a celebration in Brisbane today. The Australian team's been awarded the keys to the city to mark their success at the FIFA Women's World Cup. The Matildas finished the tournament in 4th spot, the best result by any Australian football team at a World Cup. Captain Sam Kerr says it's been the best 4 weeks of their lives.
The fact that we are able to play in packed out stadiums now is just an incredible feeling and something I don't think anyone here will get used to, because it's a dream come true to play for our national team at a World Cup, but to do it on home soil with these amazing fans, it's been amazing.
You're up to date with the very latest from ABC News. You can get more news at any time by downloading the ABC Listen app.
Since time began, humans have asked the big questions.
Does feeling cold make you more likely to catch a cold?
Is my phone secretly listening to me?
Should you keep the tomato sauce in the fridge?
Any question you ask, these humans will find you the facts.
What came first, the chicken or the egg?
Whatever it takes. What the FAQ starts Wednesday, August 30 on ABC TV and streaming on ABC iView.
Grandstand AFL.
Now streaming every match on the ABC Listen app.
Look for the AFL button.
Scott just forward of the wing, out of side. Kicks to a pack inside 50. English! For 3 in a row to the Dogs. English steers it through beautifully.
Roving his gap, Aaron Handball puts with it and under pressure, slaps it away straight to Norton, forward pocket, handball to Baker, Baker runs in and goes. Is that a fire starter for the Dogs?
It's becoming obvious how poor some of the West Coast skill errors are. Just a basic handball there to a teammate into space.
Kelly takes off in the centre of the ground. Hand passes to Long and half forward, and they're out the back. Marrick's got space. 15 out from goal, coast to coast from the Eagles. Ryan Marrick, the 18-year-old in his debut season, elects to go with the snap, and he just curls it home.
The 2023 AFL season.
On radio,
ABC Sport Digital,
and now streaming on the ABC Listen app.
It's the West Coast Eagles leading by 11 points at half-time over the Western Bulldogs. 7-6-48, plays 5-7-37. Nathan Burke and Brad Sewell are experts here on Grandstand AFL. A concerning afternoon so far for the Dogs. What's their path back into the match, Berkey?
They've got to match the Eagles' intensity, and then let their talent take over. But as we all know, hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard.
That's well rehearsed. That's like you've delivered that to the AFLW.
I'm off now. I'll leave you for the second half. But it's pretty
so
much
attitudinal as a start.
Attitude, yeah, they've got to get their hands dirty. I think the Eagles are outworking them at the moment, both offensively and defensively, and they're leaving it too much and too few.
What about you, Sully? Is there anything you would change mechanically from the Dogs to try and ignite a response?
I like the way they're pushing further up into their forward half when they don't have the ball, disallowing West Coast just to maintain possession and chip the ball sideways. They've just strangled West Coast on occasion when they have equalised numbers in that way. But I mean, Burke hit the nail on the head. It is just a matter of wanting the contest, actually cracking in around the stoppages. Because at the moment, Tim Kelly in particular is just doing as he pleases, waltzing in and out of congestion, waltzing through stoppages. And is causing some real damage.
I think that would be a start, wouldn't it? Maybe applying a little bit of extra attention to Tim Kelly, who hasn't generally handled tags all that well. And today, maybe he walked out there and no one stood near him and he thought, this is a day for me. 18 disposals, 2 contested possessions, 4 clearances, 78% disposal efficiency, 5 inside 50s, and the number that jumps off the page, 8 score involvements.
Having seen Hawthorn Western Bulldogs last weekend, when the Dogs lost Libba, it became glaring.
Yep.
Just how dominant Hawthorn were, just in the grunt area around the contest. And again, it's evident today. Without Libba, who just stiffens them up and at the source gets his hand on the ball. If he doesn't get his hand on the ball, he's getting a hand on a jumper, disallowing the likes of Tim Kelly to waltz through unattended.
That might be a point that we haven't emphasised enough today. I mean, the second-generation dog, Tom Liberatore, I mean, he might be the straw that stirs the drink for the Dogs, and they don't look the same without him.
So who needs to step up in his absence?
I'm not sure whether I would throw Caleb Daniel in the middle, because Caleb actually gets his hands on the ground ball really, really well. And McRae's more of your, I'll let it dribble out to the outside and I'll run onto it. Bont can win his own footy, but...
Maybe it's Bailey Smith. I mean, Bailey Smith is a player who's wanted more time on the ball.
Say, okay, mate, what can you do for us?
Show us it.
Yeah. No, it's not a bad option, but they need somebody who's going to be better at winning that ground ball than the ones that they've got in there at the moment.
What about West?
That's where they're starting. Yeah, it just never seems to get up there for some reason.
Not given a chance.
Yeah, not too sure about that, but it's absolutely worth a try. You've got Bontempelli and you've got McRae in there. Well, you can afford to be a little bit speculative with your third.
It's going to be a big watch. I don't want to be over dramatic about it, and it's a little difficult for you, Berkey, being employed by the Western Bulldogs, but there will be a chorus that will come out after the Western Bulldogs. If they can't close out this second half and win against the West Coast Eagles, trailing by 11 at the main break. We came in speaking about Adam Simpson with the plume that was hanging over his head. I think they'll be fitted up on all of the footy shows tomorrow night if they lose to the West Coast Eagles like this with their season at stake.
Yeah, there certainly has been some criticism for the Western Bulldogs given the strength or the perceived strength of their list. And the question marks remaining, Bevo's ability to get the best out of his players and put this list in a position where they should be vying for the top 4, let alone playing finals. So you're right, it becomes a really important quarter, half of football for the Dogs.
You said perceived just then. Do you think this Bulldog side is underperforming, or?
I think when you look at the star power of the team, from the forward half, midfield to the back half, they should not be in this position where the question marks remain about their ability to play finals.
They've got 6 players rated elite on their list, which is the most of any club.
Most of any club.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that should give them a very good chance to be winning any number of games to get themselves into position to finish in the top 4. And here they are in life and death with the West Coast Eagles, the 2-win Eagles, taking it right up to the Western Bulldogs. They lead by 11 points, the visitors, 7-6-48, plays 5-7-37. The Dogs' season about to go on the line. They sit 9th at the moment. A win would see them into the 8. A loss today would see their season go down to Geelong next week. And boy, that would be a big ask. All the players in position. A lot on the line for the Dogs, for Luke Beveridge, and for everyone in red, white and blue. Eagles by 11. Second half underway. You're with Jess Webster.
So the Dogs fighting for their place in September in this second half. We're underway in the third. English gets the tap. Yo chasing after it. Now Bontempelli has a go for the Eagles. Has a couple of fumbles, then gets the hand pass out to English, who loops it over the top to Daniel. Taps it on to Dale's advantage, but is caught by Kelly and brought to ground. Stoppage on the Logo broadcast wing. Kelly, as we mentioned, 18 disposals, 5 inside 50s, 8 score involvements so far.
English trying to take it out of the ruck. Fluffs his kick, picked up by Hewitt for the Eagles. Floats the ball to half forward. Cripps paddles it on. Onto it there, Richards for the Dogs. Handball back to Duray. Offers step, a kick to the Logo, looking for Norton. McGovern fists it down. Bounces past Bailey J. Williams. Bontempelli clever towards Treloar. He fumbles it. Now the Eagles coming through via Hewitt. Loses it. Out to Hunt. Handball straight to Treloar, legged. Free kick going to Hunt. Treloar, another fumble there, Berkey. Hasn't quite looked right as Hunt goes into the pocket. Looking for Allen on the lead. Duray getting back. Has a lot of it. Not paid the mark. Close to the line, Richards. Keeps it in the end. Gives it off to Baker, his fellow redhead, who gives it back to O'Donnell. A kick up to the wing, and Hugo Hagan can't mark.
Knocked away by Yo, and then spills over the line for a throw-in between wing and half forward.
Pretty untidy start to the second half.
Yeah, if the Dogs were thinking they're going to come out really clean and play some good footy, it hasn't turned out that way.
Eagles by 11, early stages, third term. Bailey J. Williams and English and ruck. Williams palms it down only as far as Bontempelli of the Dogs. Gives it to Treloar. His hand pass a little wide of Daniel. Did well to keep it alive. And a rush kick down the line. Norton will attack this.
Oh, Shepherd.
It's a block going the way of, is it Yo or McGovern? McGovern. So, costly turnover to the Dogs. McGovern right on centre wing. Sends it to a pack at half forward. English got hands to it, brought it to ground. Hewitt tried to slap it forward. Daniel picks it up for the Dogs. He gets the hand pass out to English. He was stripped to the footy. It's picked up by Hewitt of the Eagles. Backwards to Petrevsky. Seaton post the kick inside the arc and Cripps is marked. It's 47 metres out from goal, about 10 in from the boundary.
It's when the ball's just bobbling around and all players are diving and chasing and knocking it out, it seems to be the Eagles who are ending up with it more often than not. And that's to me, it's always a really good sign.
So Eagles by 13 at quarter time, 11 at the half. They're out by as much as 26 points in that first quarter. Here's Jamie Cripps. He'll have to kick it all of 50 metres close to the boundary. The kick is on its way. It looks superb off the boot. Classy finish from Jamie Cripps, who has a couple of goals. And leads out to 17 points. West Coast 8-6-54 to the Dogs 5-7-37. 3 minutes into the third term on Grandson AFL. Nathan Burke and Luke. I did that again. No, Nathan Burke and Brad Sewell, your experts.
That was last night. Luke Ball was here.
And I said Luke Burke at some stage, I think.
He did. Yeah, West Coast seem to be winning the contested ball, and Burke, you're right, when it does spill out, that's invariably, it's ending up in West Coast's hands as well. Fantastic finish by Cripps. But it's getting close to panic stations for the Dogs.
Oh, absolutely. Alarm bells ringing.
Yeah, I haven't seen much change since half-time. And talk about take your chances. That's what Cripps did there, and that was a great shot.
Out of that Northampton footy factory, his cousin Paddy, Paul Hazelby, the Lockiers, Daniel Chick, Harry Taylor, Josh Kennedy. What a production line from a town of 800. Dogs out of the middle here to Daniel, to Treloar, needs to take the chance, and does. Is that what the doctor ordered for the Dogs? Much more like it. Back to 11 points. The instant reply from the Western Bulldogs. 8-6-54 by 6-7-43. Nathan Burke, Brad Sewell.
Yeah, well, you can't get a goal much quicker than that. It was McCraig on the burst on the way through. The umpire paid a free kick against Yeo for one over the shoulder. And the play on was very well taken by Caleb Daniel to Treloar. And that was a really good finish from 50 over the top of McGovern's outstretched arm. But now we're getting Bailey Smith coming into the centre bounce. So we sort of spoke about it at half-time. Might be an option. Let's see how he goes.
The instant reply to the Dogs. Treloar's first of the afternoon, leading the way in disposals for his side this afternoon with 18. 9 tackles and now a goal to his name. Back in the middle we go. English down to Yeo of the Eagles, who can run away and have a bounce. His hand pass a little too hot for Kelly. He can run onto it inside forward 50. Has a fumble. Cripps has a go. He's taken without it. Umpire says play on. Spills to Smith of the Dogs. Left half back. Chips down the line. Through the fingertips of Ugle-Hagan. Out the back is Rotham. He hand passes to Hewitt. Dodges Ugle-Hagan. His hand pass in ball. Put his teammate under pressure. In Duggan, ball spills loose. The umpire says play on. Hewitt picks it up, jams it on the boot, inside forward 52. A pack. What a mark! Sensational grab from James O'Donnell.
We're starting to see today what the Dogs have seen in James O'Donnell.
He's looked really good at times, hasn't he?
We've heard about it. Now we're starting to see it. Long kick to the wing. McGovern brings it to ground. Ugle-Hagan trying to follow up with it and picking it up for the Eagles. Amble to Hunt. Back the other way they go. Short kick to Petrevsky-Seaton. Petrevsky-Seaton short to Jones, who will wheel and kick long inside 50. In the Marrick direction, getting back. English hands on it. Darling trying to come through. English handball away to Jones. Slaps it down. Pinballs back to him. Jones knocking it out for the Dogs. Under pressure, Bailey Smith. Dogs work it out through hands. Bontempelli.
Gets around Petrevsky-Seaton and then flares his kick up towards half forward. Scott in a tangle with Rotham. It spills Scott's way. Kicks the Dogs inside forward 50. Getting back as Cole taking the intercept grab. And then chips in board to Duggan. Right, his hand pass is a horrible one. Looking for Jones. Allows Waitman to swoop. Picks it up. Gives it to Norton to Bontempelli. He won't miss from here. And it's back to a 5-point ball game. West Coast 8-6-54 to the Dogs 7-7-49. 7 minutes played, third term on Grandson AFL.
Finally, Berkey, some urgency, and it came from the back half of the Western Bulldogs just to run and play on. It creates movement in front of you. Bontempelli just holding on to the ball a little bit longer just to force movement ahead of him. It's too many occasions this afternoon, and indicative of West Coast years. Simple handball has just hit the deck on far too many times.
Yeah, it was Duggan that time. He had a player running past and he just quite simply missed him with the handball. Bad spot to do it. Inside the defensive 50.
So the Dogs get back-to-back majors. Only the second time today they've done that. Kick 3 in a row. Around quarter time. Now coming away with it, the Eagles again through Kelly. Handball to Gaff. They handball it to the Docks wing. Edwards will send it up towards Marek. He can't mark. Tries to follow up out the back. Dale gets there for the Dogs. Marek sticks a hand in. Knocks it out to Bailey Smith. Bulldogs back with it. Vandermeer back to Bailey. Dale just gets his kick away to Poulter. And he's able to take it just backward of the wing for the Dogs.
Chips down the line again, not a great kick. McGovern picks it off and then chips inboard to Bailey. J. Williams takes the mark, hand pass it to Kelly. Pauses momentarily and then kicks across the ground looking for long, but Richards with the spoil. Brought it to ground, then kicks up towards half forward. Lob takes the diving mark. 2 kicks from goal out of side. Wants to move it quickly. Chips it up towards half forward. Bontempelli's got it just inside the arc. He chips it into the pocket where Ugelhagen is marked in space. 20 out from goal. Hugged up against the boundary line.
Nice to see Bont turn around there. He had 3v2 Bulldogs' favour in front of goal. Finds Ugelhagen on the boundary line. Preferred side for a left footer.
The Dogs haven't led all game. Until now. Ugelhagen snaps the goal. It's 3 in a row to the Dogs. And they lead by a point. 8-7-55 to 8-6-54. 9 minutes gone, third term on Grandson AFL.
The last 2 goals coming from bad play by the Eagles. One was a Duggan completely missed handball, and that one was just a switch kick that Richards, I think it was, managed to intercept and get the ball going quickly down to the Bulldogs' end. So we're in that first half. Very rare did they actually make those sort of mistakes and allow the Eagles to capitalise on those mistakes, but 2 in a row and cost them dearly.
3 goals in 5 minutes for the Dogs. Turned a 17-point deficit into a 1-point advantage. Second time today they've kicked 3 on the trot. Perfect bounce back in the middle. Favours Bailey J. Williams. Lob loses it under pressure. Spills to Williams for the Eagles. Handball out towards Gaff. Shovels it out. Handball to Cole. He loses it. The Dogs showing some urgency. Out to Bontempelli. Snaps to half forward. Baker trying to rove the pack. Loses it with it in for the Eagles. Handball back to centre half back. Handball to Petruccelli. Handball to Cole. Handball to Gaff. And he'll send it. Well, he thinks about sending it out to the wing. Now handball's over the top.
To Chesser. And now to Cole, who chips it towards half forward. Jones is marked. Chips it out wide for Marek. He's 80 from home. And content to just hold it up. Now wheel inboard and kick it long into the pocket. Allen with the lead and the big grab. 30 out from goal. Slide angle to the left.
A really good kick out in front of Allen there, and he's such a big man with good strong hands. It's almost impossible to jump over him when he gets a run and leap like that.
So Oscar Allen, 2 goals, 2 this afternoon. Again, we've mentioned what a wonderful season he's had in a side at the bottom of the ladder. This will be goal number 49 for the season. If he can guide it home from 30 and give West Coast back the lead, he's sprayed it badly to the right for a minor score. But scores are level here under the roof. 8-7-55 apiece after 11 and a half minutes in the third.
Massive let off. Short kick from Bailey Dale. His namesake Bailey Smith gives it back to Bailey Dale to James O'Donnell. Beyond defensive 50, kicks up to the wing. Eagles have the numbers through Edwards. Handball back to Jack Williams. Handball out towards Rotham. Misses him, gathers on the bounce. He'll kick back to half forward for the Eagles, looking for Darling. Through his hands it goes. Out the back, Liam Jones is there. Dogs back the other way through hands to Poulter, to Baker. Handball away to Scott.
Oh, he's caught and run down by Petrocelli. Caught holding the ball. Free kick to the Eagles.
How fast did he close him down then? It's like a train coming.
Petrocelli kicks all the way back to half back to McGovern, who can chip it forward to Rotham. Scores level halfway through this third quarter. Bulldogs season is on the line. Rotham long down the line. Marek is in the contest. Williams is also there, got hands to it. Darling tried to keep it alive, but Ricochet is out of play for a throw-in right in front of our commentary position here on Grandstand AFL. Scores a level, 13 played, third term.
Umpire brings it back in. Lobb and Jack Williams. Lobb shoves him out of the way, takes the ball out of the ruck. Handball to Dale. Now Eagles all around him. Wrapped up, a ball up between the edge of the square and the logo. Up it goes. Lobb palming it straight down to Bontempelli. Handball out to Poulter. Handball back to Bailey Smith. Booking a kick for the Dogs to half forward. Looking for West. Cole right there with him. And then smacking it away, Baker. Out into the path of Ugle-Hagan. Rotham gathers. Carries it straight out. Throwing just inside attacking 50 left half forward for the Dogs. 8-7-55 each of two. 14 minutes into the fourth.
Ball spun back into play. McRae gets the hand pass out to Daniel. He gives it to Scott. Jams it on the boot. A high kick into the pocket. English back with a fly to the ball. Mark is not paid. And we'll have a stoppage in the left forward pocket for the Western Bulldogs.
Yeah, I think this is fair enough. No, big fella's got to catch it properly. Take it all the way to the ground.
Williams against English and ruck. It spills to Chester, who gives it to Edwards, to Witherden and Jones. Last line defence, kick over the head of Long. Allows Bailey Williams of the Dogs to collect. 10 passes inboard to Lobb. From 45 out. Kanida sticks. And miss. Bulldogs by a point. 8-8-56. West Coast 8-7-55. 15 travel third term Grandstand AFL.
Handy point.
It's a little early for that.
Quarter hour mark into the third. Dogs leading by a point, by hook or by crook. They need to win today. Witherden towards the Docks wing. Out the back it goes. Petrevsky Seaton onto it for the Eagles. Kicks to Allen. Marks on his chest as he tumbles. This time Jones can't get a hand on it. Allen will bite off the kick into the middle of the ground and spot up Duggan. Turns immediately. Sends it out to the City wing. Able to mark Rotham. Nothing he likes just yet.
Bulldogs gotten well back.
He'll send it in the Marek direction. He's double teamed and O'Donnell, like a praying mantis, he just comes across and takes the intercept mark.
We've got one here, the Bulldogs.
He's one of the really nicest young blokes you want to meet up to. He always stops and has a chat and says g'day and talks about the footy. He's a wonderful young fella.
I know his cousin, so he's nothing like him then.
O'Donnell to the wing to a contest, off hands, ball locked up.
Naturally a big St Kilda family. I always tell the story that I remember James's cousin when Brendan Goddard took the mark in the grand final, jumping up and almost starting to cry and saying, we're going to win, we're going to win.
Yeah, he does like to chat about the Saints.
From the stoppage, whistle on play for a throw going the way of the Dogs. A free kick to Jack McRae at half back and chips inboard to Daniel. Not the required distance, so has to play on. Running backwards and then chips inside defensive 50 to Jones. Can bring it to this broadcast side of the ground to Keith. He can take off from left half back. Down the line. Poulter in best position, but doing well is Edwards to bring it to ground. Petrevsky Seaton chasing after it, has a fumble. Duray has a go. And he's tackled by Edwards, and we'll have a stoppage in front of the two benches. The two subs today, still unused. Lockie McNeil for the Western Bulldogs and Zane True for the Eagles.
Umpire puts it aloft. English now bodies Jack Williams. Can't quite take it cleanly. Allows him Petrevsky Seaton. Bontempelli going after the footy. Handball to Poulter. Dogs away with it. Bailey Smith, a high left foot kick to half forward. Hunt right there with Anthony Scott and punching it out, a throw in left half forward. Momentum wearing red, white and blue at the moment. 17 minutes into the third term. Dogs by a point.
Ball spun back into play. Ball's at the feet of English. Gaff just hacks it out of there. Dale attacked the contest hard but can't take it cleanly. Kelly, his hand pass intercepted by West, who jams a kick forward just inside the arc. Baker has a couple to beat and did so. Gave it to Williams. He's set up on immediately by Hunt. Ball locked up just inside the field of play at left half forward. Bulldogs into attack. They've kicked the last 3 goals of the game and lead by a point.
Up it goes. Bailey J. Williams laying it straight down for Caleb Daniel. Handballs it straight out of bounds, but Treloar in the vicinity, a throw in.
Again, the defence of the West Coast Eagles is really good. Every time a Bulldogs player picks it up, they're just set upon by at least 1 or 2 West Coast Eagles players.
Umpire to fling it back in. Left half forward for the Dogs. Bailey J. Williams hooking it to the back. Onto it there, Bailey Smith. All held in. It'll come out eventually. And Bailey Smith flicks it out to West. 51 out. Pulls the trigger on goal. Getting back Yo. Somehow controls it. As he gets back to the last line, takes the mark for the Eagles. Dogs by a point.
Yo chips short to McGovern. And pops his kick over the top to Chesser. He chips it short to Hunt. They're still inside defensive 50, the Eagles. We've seen this a few times today. Hunt bullets the pass to Jones. Left half back, close to the boundary line. Dogs by a point. So we enter time 1 of the third term here at Docklands. Jones long down the line to a contest. Standing tall is Richards taking the intercepting grab for the Dogs.
Richards wheels out onto his left. Mongrel punt down towards half forward, and Hugel Hagen unable to control it. Throw in at right half forward. 19 and a half minutes into this third term. Dogs by a solitary point. Umpire brings it back in. English knocking it down towards Poulter. Handball away to Treloar onto his left. Snapping inside 50 towards full forward. No one able to mark. Live footy inside 50 for the Dogs. Onto it, McRae loses it. Petrocelli knocks it away. Eagles through McGovern will kick towards the wing.
Nice delivery finds Allen. Just defensive side of the wing. Couple of goals to his name this afternoon. Looking for options on this broadcast side. Ships it to Duggan. Couldn't complete the mark. McRae came in and then he was caught high. The umpire said play on. They scraffer it on the wing and we'll have a ball up. McRae asking the question. Dogs by a point. 20 gone, third term. Lorbin ruck against Bailey J. Williams, who won the tap. Hewitt overran it. Picked up by Cripps, close to the line, over and out. For a throw in front of the interchange gates.
We know the Dogs have kicked the last few goals, but general play, there's really not much between these two teams at all. It's tight, it's scrappy, it's not very free-flowing, but I think that's playing into the Eagles' hands at the moment.
So just in the arm wrestle phase. Bailey J. Williams and lob again. Down in front towards Bontempelli, can't gather. Allows in Cole for the Eagles. Pushed as he kicks into the middle of the ground. Eagles are there in numbers. Long trying to come through. Poulter there over the top of him. Umpire will circle Razor Ray. Holds his arms to his chest. All up in the middle of Docklands. Dogs still by a point. 21 minutes into the third.
Smith gets the hand pass out to Treloar. Back to Scott. Throws it on the boot. Inside forward 50. A couple of tall targets. It spills away of West, who evades traffic and dribbles home a classy goal. Bulldogs out to a 7-point lead, 9-8-62 to the Eagles, 8-7-55. 22 gone third term on Grandson AFL, Nathan Burke and Brad Sewell.
Terrific read by West, wasn't it? It was a quick kick from a stoppage around the centre bounce. in the centre circle. Treloar involved, Bontempelli involved. And then a long kick in. Tim English just bringing the ball to ground. Terrific read by West. And a clever snap, left foot dribble.
That's what you do all of the touch work for as well. The gather and ability to come through in traffic.
Yeah, it hasn't been a clean game at all. There's been a lot of double touching from both sides, but that's West's bread and butter there. Losing the side for, playing it half forward. Good reward for his hard work today.
And very clean below the knees on that occasion. 4 unanswered goals for the Dogs. Crooked bounce in the middle. Up by 7 points. The Eagles did lead by 17 3 minutes into this third term when Jamie Cripps scored. Since then, the Dogs with the next 4. English ricochets down to him after the ruck contest. Bailey J. Williams picks it up for the Eagles. High kick towards half forward. Big pack. Able to knock it down, Richards. Straight towards Treloar, who's immediately hassled. Holding the ball, the Eagles with it. Overhead pass from Duggan. Back to Cripps, who goes long towards full forward. Darling's there in the goal square. And he outpoints Jones to mark. And Jack Darling will go back in the goal square to try and bring it back to a 1-point game.
I think they're saying it's touched.
The Dogs are trying to. Well, the umpire will as well. Ball up, no mark.
I think it was touched off Cripps's boot, perhaps. And touched is the call, and it's a ball up in the goal square. From the stoppage, Treloar had a fresh airy. Keith has a go. He can't take it cleanly. Plenty of numbers around this, and we'll have another ball up, this time 15 metres out from the Eagles' goal.
I didn't think there were too many near Cripps, but... No. Oh, there was Bontempelli.
Bailey J. Williams with the tap down to Bontempelli. A rush kick around the corner to a contest. Waitman almost completes a fantastic mark. Ball spills loose. Jones overran it. Waitman has another go. Throws it on the boot towards the wing. Over the head of Norton. Yo's there. Sockers it off the deck towards the boundary line. How will the umpires see this? Insufficient intent. Free kick to the Dogs on the city side wing.
Good effort by Waitman there. A couple of good, really hard efforts at the football.
Poulter goes long to half forward. The Eagles are there. Hole marks on his chest. A kick to Jones at centre half back. Gives off the handball. Away to Long. He'll look to the wing for Allen. Takes it alongside the logo. Dogs by 7 points. Eagles giving him everything they can handle. Allen spots up Darling. 55 out. He'll try and centre it towards Bailey J. Williams. Can't mark. Out the back it goes for Kelly. Handball away to Allen. Time to steady. And check side a goal. Allen's third. And the Eagles are hanging around. It's a 1-point ball game. 9-8-62 plays 9-7-61. 25 minutes into the third term.
Terrific work rate by Allen. He was up here at centre wing, who then passed it down to
Darling.
Who was it? To Darling. And worked his butt off to get back to be an option there in front of goal.
Sort of Nick Rewalt-like, who used to get up to the wing, kick it inside 50 and then shoot straight back to the goal square. So good reward for hard work, and also Tim Kelly held lightning fast with those hands.
He's got the number 12 on his back. I do wonder whether
blonde hair.
Yeah, Nick was an idol growing up.
Works that hard, good things will happen to him.
Back in the middle we go. The tap straight down to Hewitt of the Eagles, who skies it to half forward. Back at the flight. It's a clever mark from Poulter. And we can chip it inboard to Bontempelli. He's alone inside the centre square. Has time to measure a kick straight down the corridor to Lobb, who can mark and play on. Chips it inside the arc. Norton has to come from behind. Brought it to ground. Picked up by Daniel to Treloar from 45 out. Bouncing to the left. The Dogs by 2 points, 9-9-63 to West Coast 9-7-61, 26 goal in third term.
Witherden, an interesting kick in, just trying to weight it to McGovern. Right there with him, Oscar Baker halves the contest. Cavalry arrives, Poulter to Treloar in the pocket, pulls it back, mark taken, lob coming in. He marks 15 out directly in front.
Well done, Trelaw. Did the right thing, squaring it back. Just putting it in the path for lob.
Yeah, one of my Oscar Baker. McGovern's a hard man to spoil. He got up there and brought the ball to ground and won it back off him. So good effort by Oscar Baker as well.
A Rory lob. Just give the Dogs a bit of breathing space. Celebrates immediately. And the Dogs fans breathe a sigh of relief. They're out by 8 points on the stroke of three-quarter time. 10-9-69. Plays 9-7-61. Nathan Burke-Bradshaw.
Yeah, well, much needed goal there by the Bulldogs. They've got to go goal for goal at least, and then hope that their better team sort of prevails in the last. But up until this point, you really can't pick a winner. You can't say, oh, one team's dominating, the dam's going to break, or they're dominating possession or field position. It's really even across the ground, and at the moment it's come down to, if you make a mistake, the Bulldogs are penalising mistakes. So the Eagles are just got to be careful. You've got to keep taking the game on, but if possible, limit the mistakes, because that's where the Bulldogs are punishing them.
From the restart, Bontempelli was held, and the umpire spotted it. Free kick to the superstar in the bullseye of Docklands. Kick up towards half forward is absolutely perfect to lob on the lead. He's got it just inside the arc, slight angle left of centre.
Again, it's Bont turning this game around. It was the smother, the fingernail he got in the ball, which would have otherwise led to Darling taking the mark in the goal square for West Coast, and been instrumental in the last couple of plays for the Bulldogs yet again.
Lob will kick it from outside 50. It's on its way, but it's missing to the right. 9 points the lead to the Western Bulldogs. 10-10-70 to West Coast 9-7-61. 29 played now, third term Grandstand AFL.
Bontempelli up to 23, which is the most on the ground, with Kelly 22 and Trelaw 23 also, but Bontempelli's had the 9 clearances to go with them.
Dogs out by as many as they have been. They lead by 9. McGovern, long kick to a massive contest on the wing. Kelly leaves it behind. Darling gathers. Handball to Gaff. Handball to Kelly. Eagles quickly to half forward. Cripps has to spoil. Haley-Dale right there with him. Out of play and a throw in between wing and half forward for the West Coast Eagles. 29 and a half minutes into the third. I'm really surprised it's this close.
Yeah, inside 50 is 37-36. Shows how even it is across the middle of the ground.
English in front, swatting it down for the Bont. Getting involved for Law. English has to pick it up. Back to Bontempelli. Handball forward for McRae, close to the line. Keeps it in and will go back to English.
A rush kick around the corner, tumbles it down the line. It'll bounce in front of Witherden. Got a shove from Norton. The umpire says it's a push. So it wasn't the non-controlling umpire, I think.
I think it was a push.
I think so. I think it was there. So Witherden to take the free kick between half-back and the wing. Dock side of the ground, chips inboard and finds Cole. He also wants to chip it to Hunt on the edge of the centre square.
It was umpire Harry Birch, who was the controlling umpire, and only say nice things about him. His mum listens to the ABC. Berkey, okay?
Okay. Good on you, Harry.
Hunt chips laterally to Long. Kicks it to the outer side to Yo. They're still at half-back, the Eagles. Now the kick down the line. And standing in the hole is Keith. Takes the intercepting grab for the Dogs.
Keith will quickly go along the edge of the square. Short to Vandermeer. Handball just misses everyone. Straight to Darling. Eagles back the other way. Now Petrevsky-Seaton kicking for Jack Williams. Jones outpoints him. Vandermeer arrives. Has to make amends and retreats with his kick. Back to O'Donnell. O'Donnell laterally to English. One back pocket to the other. Big ruckman will come more central and short to Caleb Daniel. Dogs by 9.
Daniel back to English. So the Western Bulldogs fighting for a place in the top 8. And they'll head into three-quarter time with a 9-point lead over the West Coast Eagles. The Dogs 10-10-70 to West Coast 9-7-61. The goal kickers for the Dogs Lobb has 2, and then singles to Trelaw, Ugelhagen, Bontempelli, Baker, West, Scott, Norton and English. And for the West Coast Eagles, Oscar Allen has 3, Cripps has 2, singles to Hunt, Yo, Darling and Marrick.
So with their season on the line, the Bulldogs lead by 9 points over the West Coast Eagles. Nathan Burke and Brad Sewell next. This is Grandstand AFL.
We need to go now.
You're not kicking me out of my own home, Arthur.
Denise Scott and Matt O'Kine.
It's an assisted living village, Mum.
In a shiny new comedy.
We're at a goat farm.
Mother and son.
You haven't even mentioned my new mode. It's hideous.
Cheeky, provocative.
What'll we do now?
And proves love is relative.
Looks like it's just you and me, Mum.
Believe me, Arthur.
Mother and Son.
That's more than enough.
Starts 8:30 Wednesday night on ABC TV and ABC iView. Grandstand AFL.
Now streaming every match on the ABC Listen app.
Look for the AFL button.
Dogs out of the middle here to Daniel, to Trelaw, needs to take the chance and does. Is that what the doctor ordered for the Dogs?
Duggan, his hand pass is a horrible one, looking for Jones, allows Waitman to swoop, picks it up, gives it to Norton, to Bontempelli, he won't miss from here. And it's back to a 5-point ball game. Lobb takes the diving mark, 2 kicks from goal out of side. Wants to move it quickly, chips it up towards half forward. Bontempelli's got it just inside the arc. He chips it into the pocket where Ugelhagen is marked in space. 20 out from goal, hugged up against the boundary line. The Dogs haven't led all game. Until now. Ugelhagen snaps the goal. It's 3 in a row to the Dogs.
Eagles giving him everything they can handle. Allen spots up Darling, 55 out. He'll try and centre it towards Bailey. J. Williams can't mark. Out the back it goes for Kelly. Handball away to Allen. Time to steady and check side a goal. Allen's third. And the Eagles are hanging around.
The 2023 AFL season.
On radio,
ABC Sport Digital.
and now streaming on the ABC Listen app.
So the Western Bulldogs just 9 points to the good over the 2-win West Coast Eagles. The Bulldogs playing for their season much, much closer than they would have liked and they could have done with a percentage boost as well. At the conclusion of this game, we're sending you to Perth Stadium, Fremantle and Port Adelaide. Clint Wilden, Mitch Turner, Sherrod Wellingham and Cara Antonio to bring you that call. Nathan Burke, Brad Sewell, what did you see in that third term, and can the Eagles still spring an upset?
Well, I think they can, but they need to believe themselves that they can, and this isn't a position they're too familiar with, unfortunately, for West Coast Eagles over the last couple of years. There's still a sense of inevitability that the Western Bulldogs, if by no other means than Marcus Bontempelli has to physically do it himself in order just to get the Bulldogs over the line here, there is no excuse as to why they shouldn't. So that's a pretty blunt, quick assessment, Berkey.
Yeah, you're right. They've got to match the intensity. And as you said, the Eagles haven't been in this position often, but they've got the blueprint. They've done it for 3 quarters. So they just need to hang in there and do it again. And these teams who aren't vying for finals, in some ways, these later rounds are just so dangerous. You'd rather play someone who's vying for the finals and has that weight of expectation and on their shoulders, probably like Essendon had yesterday and failed, than the Giants. Than the Eagles, who've just got nothing to lose. Teams with nothing to lose are really, really dangerous.
The exciting thing for West Coast and for Simo, I'd imagine the message would be play on at every opportunity. Just get the ball through the corridor. Give Oscar Allen as much chance as you can forward of the ball, close to goal. Darling, as I said, was unfortunate not to have been paid the mark in the goal square, which would have made things really interesting going into this final quarter. And for Bevo and the Bulldogs, the message almost has to be somewhat similar, just to play on. They've looked their most dangerous when they have flick the ball around, when they've got the ball in quickly for Lobb, for Norton, and given those guys a chance one-on-one deep in the forward line.
He kept them in the huddle for a fair bit, did Luke Beveridge. The Eagles already spread out going back to their positions, but he had them in a really, really tight huddle, and I think he was imploring them to give it their all and play as a team and really take this last quarter on. And because he knows, this is season-defining, on-the-line stuff. So I think we're in for a ripping last quarter.
We certainly are. Let us know where you're listening. 0437 774 774. Who you're supporting. There'll be a lot of Eagles fans, I know, in WA trying to see if their team can spring a third win on the season. Looks like we've got a substitution. Zane True is into the game for the West Coast Eagles. Campbell Chesser subbed out. We'll find out if it's an injury or whether just a tactical sub for the West Coast Eagles. The Dogs by 9. Their season and September hopes on the line as this final term gets underway. English rising high above Bailey J. Williams, hooking it down, hitting the deck, and immediately tackled is Elliot Yeo. Wears the number 6 on his back because of Tony Modra, favourite player when he was a kid. Bailey J. Williams slapping it down again straight to his teammate in there in Cripps, and another ball up in the middle.
This time from the stoppage, Cripps has a go. It spills to Yeo, who just fends off a would-be tackler. Throws it on the boot to full forward. Darling in a one-on-one with Jones. A reels in a ripper one-hander. He's marked 20 out from goal. Slight angle to the right.
How good's that?
Vintage.
It was an amazing mark. Not many people do that against Liam Jones. Just a total one-on-one contest, and stuck out the left arm and dragged it in. Well done by Elliot Yeo in the middle. He's just been really, really lively.
Jack Darling for the first goal of the final quarter to keep the Eagles in it. He pops it through. He's got 2. And the margin is back to 3 points. Western Bulldogs 10-10-70 to the Eagles 10-7-67. A minute played, final term on Grandson AFL. Nathan Burke and Brad Saul, they're not going away.
Definitely aren't. And I like what Elliot Yeo did then. He went and stood next to Bontempelli at the bounce and at the subsequent bounce after that. So he's gone, I'm going to put my big body against your big body. And it was Yeo who ended up with the footy and banging it forward. So that's a double win there. 1, winning against Bontempelli, and 2, getting a goal at the end of it.
Kieran from South Fremantle driving home from Albany. Great way to drive. Great to have you with us, Kieran. Luke, Haley and Eloise listening in Orange, New South Wales. Go the Eagles for the Saints. Bounce in the middle. Western Bulldogs leading by 3 points. Bailey J. Williams hooks it down. It spills out towards Yeo. He's been big. He turns and kicks the Eagles to half forward. Looking for Marek. Richards outpoints him, follows up off hands, gives it to Treloar. He'll chip forward, away to English. Sweeping handball forward. Here's Scott. Hooking the ball inside 50, looking for Norton. Rotham, hands to it, doesn't mark. West comes through. Away to Bailey Smith, runs into a brick wall. Spills out to Jermaine Jones, and now Lobb turns tackler. And the Eagles hold up, ball up, right forward pocket for the Dogs.
He's a bit lenient there, old Razor. He could have played dropping the ball twice, 1 to each team.
Dogs by 3. Bailey J. Williams with the palm down. Gaff tracking it towards the line. Happy to see it over. We'll have another throw in. Deep forward pocket for the Western Bulldogs.
Bailey Smith with a 16. It's not huge. It's a serviceable game, but had the opportunity there to probably just do the easy thing, but wanted to do the flash thing.
Ball back into play. Lob in front position. Controls it down. Eagles have a go through. Gaff dispossessed. Rotham tackles Norton, but he comes up with a footy. Hand pass looking for Waitman. Kelly's there for the Eagles. Waitman goes to ground, then jumps back up to his feet. Cripps is there, picks up the footy, gives it to McGovern, to Kelly, and now to Edwards. And the Eagles can get out of danger as Edwards kicks a long ball to the wing. Darling with a couple to beat. And it's knocked over the line for a throw-in out of side. The Dogs by 3. 3 minutes into the final quarter.
Well worked by Eagles out of their deep and defensive half.
Billy Fraser and Patterson around the barbecue, keeping warm in Wangaratta. Enjoying the call. Tight contest here. Lobb slapping it away into the path of McRae, who's gang tackled. Made in the sandwich with a couple of Eagles. No mention of any injury on the Eagles' Twitter for Campbell Chesser, so I think just a tactical sub. All up on the wing. Bailey J. Williams straight down to Cripps. Gives it away towards Kelly. Off to Marek. His kick goes straight to the Bulldogs, and Jones sliding into mark across centre half back.
Kicks across the ground to Keefe. Kicks out wide to Vandermeer. Over his head, but he has space and time to gather. Kicks the Dogs into attack. Norton and Waitman's there. McGovern with the fist to Hunt. Curls it around the corner to Gaff, who's marked at half-back. Hand passes inboard to True, the sub. He kicks out wide to Williams. Jack Williams of the Eagles. Sends a high kick towards half-forward. Darling in the contest. Brought to ground. Chasing after it is Keith. He's tackled immediately and brought to ground. We'll have a stoppage at left half-forward for the Eagles. The Dogs by 3.
Trying to bring some fresh legs. Zane True, wasn't he? Sprinting through there. Had a little more zest than some of the others. Bailey J. Williams hooking it over his head, but straight to Bontempelli. And then Poulter is tackled quickly. Another ball up, left half forward for the Eagles.
The Dogs have got Lockie McNeil on the bench, and he's really only going to come in and play as that small forward.
English winning the tap. Spills down to Treloar, hooks his kick. Jaden Hunt outbodies Waitman, doesn't complete the mark, follows up. Handball away to Duggan, gets it on the boot. Long kick to full forward. Good spoil from O'Donnell, right as it looked like it was about to go into the awaiting hands of Allen. A goal-saving effort. Throw in right forward pocket for the Eagles. Dogs by 3.
Treloar gets up sore, Bontempelli gets up sore, and Waitman gets up sore. So, and Treloar's still down. He got a really good big hip pointer type of bruise, so he'll be tender.
Shallow throw in. Bailey J. Williams taps it over his head only as far as McRae. Gives it to Smith. Hacks it out of the danger zone. A big fly on the outer side to Scott. Can't bring it down. Ball goes back inside forward 50 for the Eagles. Marked by Vandermeer. Quarter play on. His hand pass back into dispute. Marek picks it up. He gets the hand pass out. O'Donnell picks it up. Tackled by Darling. Stoppage, 20 out from the Eagles' goal.
Eagles pressing here in this final quarter, having their chances. Umpire puts it up. English, his hand to it, spits out. Marek stands up in a tackle. Inside 50s, 3-2 the way of the Eagles in the early stages of this fourth term. Secondary ball up again. Bailey J. Williams leaps over the top of English into the path of Cripps. Flying shot across the face. It won't score. Bouncing ball. Jones gathers in the pocket for the Dogs and kicks to the wing.
And now it's a foot race. West first there for the Dogs. Close to the boundary line. A rush kick inboard to Norton, who trapped it nicely. Gave it to Richards, and now to Bontempelli from inside the centre square. Kicks up towards the arc. Scott has a couple to beat. The fist came from Witherden. Brought it to ground. Rotham can collect it half back for the Eagles. And passes backwards to Cole. Wants to kick across the ground to the top of the defensive goal square and finds Edwards.
Edwards will kick it out in front of Hunt. Running through halfback. Bounce doesn't favour him. Puts him under pressure. Bontempelli pins him holding the ball. This inspirational captain for the Dogs. He does it always. He can do it with the ball. He can do it without it. Free kick. Left half forward. Kicks it straight into the man on the mark. Mozzed him. And now Long picks it up for the Eagles and they try and bounce off halfback.
Kelly kicks to the wing and finds Darling a long way from home. Not much up ahead. He just has to hold the footy up. And the city side wing. Dogs by 3.
Bulldogs midfield look tired. McRae's got his hands on his hips. Bontempelli he's got his hands on his hips.
Darling bombs it to half forward. Allen has to turn spoiler. It spills to Kelly, who releases Cripps by hand, runs to 45 and drills the goal. He's got 3, and the West Coast Eagles are back in front in this final quarter. They lead by 3, 11-7-73 to the Dogs, 10-10-70, 9 gone, final term, Grandson AFL.
Looking around the Western Bulldogs, they're listless, they're flat, there's no urgency, nobody's showing any vigour out there at the moment, trying to encourage anybody else, try and generate some energy. It's genuinely flat.
Yeah, look, Bontempelli's bent over. McRae just brought himself off the ground because he's tired. Trelaw's in there. He's got a bit of a sore hip, so he's nursing that. Bailey Smith sort of walked his way back into the middle. Caleb Daniel came on the ground and he just sort of virtually jogged up to the forward line. There's no spark there at all.
Umpire puts it aloft. Going after it, English. He's tackled by True and over the shoulder. What an upset this would be. Dogs season on the line. English free kick. A long kick inside 50. McGovern gliding to mark. Rising up. The Eagles no fly zone from a few years ago. Just couldn't go in by air. They would intercept it. Kicks short sideways. Away to Liam Duggan. 3 points the Eagles' advantage. 10 minutes played, final term.
Duggan long down the line of a contest. Williams and Darling from behind. Couldn't get hands to it. It gets out the back though to Petruccelli. Can't take it cleanly. Geray's there. Taps it towards the boundary line. The umpire says toss it in. Throw in, half forward for the Eagles.
Lucky there, the Dogs. 2 West Coast players running onto a loose ball goal side. Fortunately, or unfortunately, just dribbles out of bounds.
West Coast with the only 2 goals of this final quarter. The Dogs by 9 points at three-quarter time. From the ball in, Trelaw has a couple of goes at it, but he's tackled and brought to ground and will have a stoppage left half forward for West Coast.
The Dogs have got 10 players who have not touched the ball this quarter. Another 3 of them have only had 1.
Bailey J. Williams straight down to Petrovsky Seaton, who kicks inside 50, bouncing ball, and Darling will see it out. A throw in 40 metres around from the attacking goal. Here for the West Coast Eagles. 11 minutes into this fourth term, they're leading by 3 points.
Possession's 33-22, marks 7-3 in favour of the Eagles.
And the ball in. Hewitt farms it out only as far as Vandermeer for the Dogs, who's clearing kick to the wing to a contest. Baker to Waitman to Norton, whose hand pass rather partially smothered, has to turn tackler and forces a ball up on the wing. 10 stuff out there at Docklands. West Coast by 3, 12 minutes gone in this final term.
Lob winning the tap down. The Eagles are around the footy again. Petrovsky Seaton kicking towards Allen, coming up at it. One hand to it, doesn't mark. Lands well, gathers the footy. Handball to True. Handball to Gaff. Handball inside 50. Vandermeer leaves it behind. Onto it, Cripps. Handball to True. Snaps the goal! The West Coast Eagles are out by 9 points. 12 minutes into the fourth. The Bulldogs' season is on the ropes. There's not much more to say, Nathan Burke. And Brad Sewell, you have a try.
I can't find a way for the Bulldogs to get back into this game. It looks like they've put their sub on. It's Jack McRae who's actually been the man who's been subbed out, which is a big loss late in the game, a ball winner. But at the moment, the Eagles have got more energy.
I just want to make a quick point. Luke Beveridge during the week spoke about how the Western Bulldogs will likely have to go to Geelong and win. So rare that you hear a coach speak about 2 weeks down the track. It's very much, we're only focused on this week, 1 week at a time.
The Eagles have won it out of the middle through Tim Kelly, who has a bounce and he's found a free player inside 50, and it's Jamie Cripps. 45 out directly in front. He's going to line up for his 4th.
Further begs the question where this type of energy from West Coast has been.
It does.
The Bulldogs have come to a halt. They haven't scored in this final quarter, and the Eagles have put on 3 unanswered goals. This would make it number 4. Jamie Cripps comes in and kicks his 4th. The Eagles are running away with it in the final term. 15 points the margin. The Bulldogs haven't scored. It's West Coast 13-7-85 to the Dogs 10-10-70. 14 gone final term on Grandson AFL. Nathan Burke and Brad Sewell.
Well, they've probably got energy because they didn't expend any last week. They probably saved it last week and thought we'll save it up for this week. But they've certainly got it now. Again, but look at Bulldogs just made a change. Norton came off and Trelaw came off. English and Bontempelli pretty much just trotted, walked into the middle. There's no jog into the middle. Quick, everyone get in. We need to win this clearance. Come on, let's fire up and away we go. There's nothing. There's no urgency. There's no spark.
You know who will be cheering, Berkey? St Kilda.
They will indeed.
15 points. The Bulldogs need to find something. Jack Williams in the middle. Taps it down onto it. Kelly stripped of it, holding the ball. Guess who? Bontempelli. So often seizes the moment for the Dogs. Kicks to half forward, looking for Ugle Hagen. His man slips over. He slaps it on into the path of Anthony Scott. Handball chopped off by McGovern. A desperate lunging hand and a goal-saving hand for the Eagles.
Rather no pushed as he kicked it. It's dribbled out of play and it'll be a throw-in. Left half forward for the Western Bulldogs. Some good forward pressure. He's kept it in their area. They trail the Eagles by 15 halfway through this final quarter with their season on the line. English against Williams and Ruck. English wins the tap. Petrocelli gets around Smith. Hand passes it to True. Had a fresh area. Picked up by Bontempelli. Low kick inside the arc. Drop mark by Jones. Picked up by Cole. Wayward hand pass picked off by Poulter, who gives it to Baker. He's tackled. Brought to ground. And it is out of play. So it'll be tossed back in. 30 around from the Dogs' goal. They trail the Eagles by 15.
You get the sense of McGovern saying we're not losing this. He's done some really good defensive efforts on not his direct opponent.
Jack Williams and English. English on the bounce, knocks it on towards Bailey Smith. Picks it up. Handball to Baker. Dogs in the left forward pocket. Kicks smothered. Ricochets away. Onto it, Gaff. Handball to Jermaine Jones and the Eagles running through halfback. He goes short to Marrick. He's able to take it between halfback and the wing for the Eagles. 16 minutes into the fourth. Eagles by 15.
Marrick will bomb it long down the line. Darling has a couple to beat. Gets out the back to Richards. Hand passes inboard to Daniel. And now to Dale. Close up against the boundary line. Skies it to the wing. Petrocelli got hands to it. Couldn't complete the mark. Cole picks it up. Gives it to Marrick. Hand passes defensively to Kelly. Gives it back to Marrick. Close up against the boundary line. Hacks the kick down the line. It's a whistle on play. I think it's out of bounds. So it'll be tossed back in on the City side wing. West Coast by 15, 17 gone, final term.
If the Eagles can win, the season will come down to the Dogs and the Giants for the last spot in the 8. GWS playing Carlton last game of the season. Dogs playing Geelong down in Geelong. True. Streaming away with the footy down the wing for the Eagles. Kicks inside 50. Hewitt can't mark. Out the back it goes. Live footy. Richards is onto it for the Dogs. High clearing kick. Back into the middle of the ground. Pack forms. Waitman can't mark. He's able to pick it up and run away with it. Handball misses. Straight to Long. Long will fire on goal. And miss. 16 points. Still 3 scores. 3 goals the Bulldogs need. Eagles by 16. 17 and a half minutes into this final term. The number 1 draft pick could be changing hands too.
And the Dogs are still yet to score as Dre goes straight up the middle from the kick in to a contest. It's brought to a halt and we'll have a stoppage on the edge of the centre square.
North Melbourne cheering on the Eagles.
Just a few teams cheering on the Eagles.
Williams palms it down straight to Dale, who squeezes a kick forward. Trapped by McNeil, the sub, gives it to Poulter. Looping hand passes a turnover to Cole. At half back for the Eagles. Trying to get around Baker. Under pressure with the kick, and it's out of bounds on the full. Free kick to the Dogs between wing and half forward on the outer side.
Free kick to Bailey Dale. Usually a good user. Goes short to Bontempelli. Gives it back to Bailey Dale. Steps Darling. Now kicks long inside 50. Lobs down there. Cole comes across. Lob hands to it. Robes his own mark. Kicks the goal. Dogs alive. Back to 10 points. 13-8, 86. Plays 11-10, 76. Lobs third.
West Coast just had to clear the ball out of the danger zone there. Lob did well to lock it in. Great recovery. Ball off the deck, stays in the contest. have Caleb Daniel running by for a handball, but fortuitously the ball fell on his boot in the right way, went through for goal. Good to see some passion from Lobb after the goal.
Can be a little nonchalant, can't he?
He's kicked 3. He's been the most effective forward for the Bulldogs, that's for sure.
The Dogs need a couple more in this final quarter. Duggan wins the clearance for the Eagles. Bounces over the head of Dale. Cripps out the back. Can't take it cleanly. Picked up by Marek. Hand passes to Cole. Sweeping hand pass to Hewitt, the young gun. 50 out. Sends it into the pocket. Allen and Darling are there. It's Gaff. Can he keep it alive? Throws it on the boot. Skies it towards the goal line. It's still alive in the opposing pocket. Hacked out of midair. Across the face. Marked by Poulter. And the last line of defence for the Dogs. West Coast by 10.
Poulter will kick up towards halfback. McGovern launching, dropping it. Lobb arriving. He's wrapped up quickly. Ball up left half forward for the Eagles. 10 points. West Coast advantage. What an upset it'd be. English tapping it down. Bailey J. Williams following up. Spits out towards Long. Kicks inside 50. Heath there for the Dogs. Marks at fullback, kicks laterally to James O'Donnell.
Time on, final quarter. O'Donnell's kick doesn't quite find the target in Dale. Tackled by Cripps and brought to ground. Ball up left half forward for the Eagles. Their lead is 10 points. 21 gone, final term. 23,965 here at Docklands. Majority Dog supporters desperately wanting their side to get over the line in their hopes of playing in September. We'll have a secondary stoppage still at half forward for the Eagles.
West Coast got a spare around the stoppage, meaning Bulldogs got an extra in the back half.
Bailey J. Williams with the run and jump. Able to paddle it down towards Zane True. Right there with him, Bailey Smith. Flicks it up to Treloar, kicks around the boundary, out on the full. Eagles with the free kick forward of the wing. Well, touched it was. Boundary umpire a little late. The West Coast Eagles leading by 10. 21 and a half minutes into the fourth. They've won twice all year. The Dogs playing for their finals. Bailey Williams slapping it boundary side onto it, Hewitt. Leaving it behind as it goes out. Another throw in on the wing. 7 minutes and change of real time to play.
What are we sensing, Berkey and Sully? Can the Eagles hang on?
I think they can, because they haven't shown any signs of letting up at all. It's going to be their mistakes that will get Bulldogs back into this game.
English taps it down and follows up a ground level, squeezes a kick forward off the side of the boot. Hunt tracking it towards the line, happy to see it out.
Well, they're wrongly. I'm still expecting the Bulldogs just to do a couple of special things to go over the line, but it's getting harder and harder to see it happening.
Yep, the defensive pressure from the Eagles just has not stopped.
Bailey J. Williams in English in ruck. Ball back into play. Red Best by Vandermeer. Gives it to Smith. His kick is a turnover. Straight to Duggan, who gives it to Cole. Kicks down the line to Allen in a one-on-one against Jones. Jones feeds the hand pass out. Only as far as True. Gives it to Cripps. Hand passes to Gaff from the wing. Curls the kick around the corner to half forward. Allen in best position. Takes the mark. 55 out. Has Marek deep. Decides to chip it short to Jamie Cripps, who's got it again. 45 out and can go back for goal number 5.
Yeah, why wouldn't you give it to Cripps? He hasn't put a foot wrong in front of goal today.
The 31-year-old Jamie Cripps. This to give the West Coast Eagles a 16-point advantage. Time on in the final quarter. He's got 4. Oh. Make it 5 big ones for Jamie Cripps. It's the Eagles by 16. 14-8-92 to the Dogs 11-10-76. 24 gone, final term on Grandstand AFL.
Well, bad news for the Bulldogs too. Tim Kelly's just spent the last 5 minutes on the bench. Now he's come back onto the ground and he's fresh and he's zipping around, patting the ball on the backside, giving them high fives. But Jamie Cripps, this is a clinic of goal kicking. He's been outstanding.
Wowee. Harley Reid, after all of the hoopla about heading west, might be staying in Melbourne. Pick one changing hands, assuming Harley is pick one in the Western Bulldogs with an almighty slip-up in the penultimate round of the season.
The crowd can hardly believe it.
Umpire puts it up. English knocks it straight down to his opposing ruck. Bailey J. Williams tumbles it inside 50. Allen doesn't take the mark. Goes after it at ground level. Then Richards clears it with the soccer. Out towards the wing. Onto it, Lockie McNeil. The sub into the game. Gives it to Bontempelli. Bursting through the wing. Spotting up Ugle Hagen, who marks 47 out at left half forward.
That's a great kick. A great run by Bontempelli.
Ugle Hagen.
He's done nothing today, so can make a name for himself here.
This would keep them alive. They need it 25 minutes into the fourth. 16 points down. He sets it up towards full forward. It's punched through. And the Eagles lead 15. 25 and a half minutes into the fourth.
He set it up, but no one else knew that he was setting it up.
No one on the same page. McGovern at fullback. Drives it long out towards the wing. Up goes Darling. And he punches it away and forces a throw in on the wing. Good result for the Eagles. Time against the Dogs now. 15 points the Eagles lead. 26 minutes played in the fourth. English able to slap it down at half forward for the Dogs. Clear and kick though from Petruccelli for the Eagles. Straight to the line.
Oh, here comes Razor.
And Razor races. Insufficient intent. Jones with the kick for the Dogs. He sends it to English on the logo. Sweeping handball. Releases Waitman. Kicks the Dogs inside 50. Lob can't mark, under pressure. Going after it, Duggan. Getting involved there. Hole for the Eagles. It'll come out to Duggan. Slams it on the boot. Kick towards the wing. Petrevsky-Seaton knocks it out. Dale soccers it on. Bouncing ball half forward for the Dogs. Cole goes in hard. And a ball up to come half forward here for the Western Bulldogs.
Well done, Cole, just to hold it up there. Didn't want the ball spilling out.
They need a goal and they need one soon, the Dogs. English down for Daniel. High ball inside 50. Rotham punches it away. Waitman onto it. Handball to McNeil. To Ugle Hagen. Sticks his boot into it. And it tumbles wide. 14 points. The Dogs' advantage. Was that the moment?
Yeah, could have been. Very well could have been. What have we got? We've got 4 minutes to go. Would have been very, very handy.
Witherden with the kick in. Up towards the wing and English clutches it. An important mark for the Dogs.
Bulldogs haven't been good late in games when it's close.
Bailey J. Williams on the mark. English with the kick. He'll set it up towards Norton. 2 hands to it, doesn't mark. Down at ground level. McNeil off to lob, snaps back to the hot spot. Bouncing ball, attacking goal square for the Dogs. Getting involved, Baker. The Eagles go in through Marek. Handball to Cole. He's wrapped up. And a ball up. 15 out from the Dogs' goal.
Good defending by the Eagles. Every loose ball, they're right onto it.
28 played in the fourth. Norton in the ruck, wins the tap. Treloar can't escape the congestion. English trying to get involved. Treloar now punched away by Hewitt. Straight to Vandermeer. Dogs with it. Bailey Williams for the Dogs. Swinging it on goal and missing right. They can't find the major opening. 13 points. The Eagles lead. 28, nearly 20 minutes played, 29 minutes played in the fourth. Duggan the kick in for the Eagles. Now towards Petruccelli at halfback. He can't drag in the mark. Bailey Williams getting involved for the Dogs. Going in true. And a ball up, right half forward here for the Western Bulldogs. 60 out from their goal. Bailey J. Williams winning the tap, hooking it down onto it true for the Eagles. Running across halfback. He'll kick up to the wing. Jones is there for the Dogs, right there with him. Long tackles in. Jones gets a handball away. And Daniel, a clever little punch away to Keith. Handball to Bailey Williams. Dogs down the dockside wing. Trelaw runs to half forward, pulls the trigger, looking for Ugle-Hagan. Duggan's there. Defensive mark for the Eagles at fullback.
Well done, Duggan.
Yeah, that ball had to come to ground. Kick favoured the Eagles. It was a poor kick in, but got to find a way to bring it to ground.
Long kick back towards the wing. No one able to mark Daniel at the fall of the ball.
Dogs doing well just to lock this in. The game's been played in their half for the last 5 to 10 minutes. They just cannot hit the scoreboard. They've had the opportunities.
30 minutes played in the fourth. Eagles win the tap through Williams. Down to Vandermeer though, who gives it off to Keith. Thumps it inside 50. Eagles at the fall of the ball. Gaff away to Kelly. Run down by Ugle-Hagan. Umpire says play on. High free kick. And it's going to go the way of McNeil. He'll send the Dogs back inside 50, looking for English or Waitman. Great kick. And Waitman marks 35 out, slight angle.
It's got to hurry, but not hurry too much.
No time to waste. Waitman snaps it through. The Dogs are alive. 7 points. 31 minutes played in the fourth. What are you doing in the coach's box now, Nathan Burke?
Yeah, you'd have a type of play, a set play for this exact scenario where you keep the ball alive, you don't cause ball ups, you just knock it off the ground, you surge it forward. You probably get your forwards just a little bit deeper so their halfbacks can't come and interfere with the middle. Whereas your West Coast Eagles, you'd have the complete opposite. You'd want to be slowing this game down. You bring an extra number up around the stoppage and get an extra number back into your back line as soon as you possibly can. So they've got a winger who's going to push back in. A half forward, they will shoot into the middle as fast as they can.
Eagles by 7. 32 minutes played in the final term. Ball pinballing around in the middle. Now coming through. Richards for the Dogs. Handball to Vandermeer. Handball to Trelaw. Handball to Daniel. Long kick in the Norton direction. McGovern punches it away. Onto it, Scott. Dives in to win the footy. And it's held in. A ball up. Half forward here for the Dogs.
Important experience by McGovern there. Just get a hard fist into the ball. Get it out of dangerous space.
Ball up. Half forward for the Dogs. Bailey J. Williams wins the tap. Bounces around on the attacking arc for the Western Bulldogs. Eagles are there though. Kelly again away to Cripps. Kick to the wing for Darling. Has nowhere to go. Goes back to Cripps. Running down the city wing. He's got no one in front of him. He kicks to space. Into the pocket. It bounces and stays in. It won't go out. Very well played by Jamie Cripps. And Bailey Dale is taken out in the pocket. Throw in right forward pocket for the West Coast Eagles. They lead by 7. They're going to hang on.
That was the best kick to no one I've ever seen. He stopped it right on the line.
Unbelievable.
One roll forward and it's insufficient intent, but he stopped it beautifully.
The Western Bulldogs, what a calamitous second last week of the season. Caleb Daniel, clearing kick to the wing, out of play again. Another throw in. The West Coast Eagles, who had won 2 games coming in, 2-19, against the Bulldogs, who started today 9th, started the round in 8th. Bontempelli wins the handball away to Trelaw. He'll kick around the city wing, and McGovern marks. He's been mighty today, Jeremy McGovern. He'll kick to another man who has, and Tim Kelly claims it. Fitting it's in his hands. The upset of the season, an absolute dog of the day for Luke Beveridge and his men. The Eagles win by 7 points, 14-8-92 to the Dogs, 12-13-85.
Born is pride from isolation, our fortress built. We cross the nation, our colors share the West Coast sky. Our will to win will never die. We're the Eagles, the West Coast Eagles. We're here to show you why. We're the big birds, kings of the big game. We're the Eagles, we're flying high. We stick together through thick and thin. We grow as champions from within. Our club knows it's more than winning. It's West Coast magic and it's just beginning. We're the Eagles, the West Coast Eagles. And we're here to show you why. We're the big birds, kings of the big game. We're the Eagles, we're flying high. We're the Eagles, we're flying high.
It's a win that means so much to so many. The ladder is set down to 7th. St Kilda and Sydney will play finals. 8th spot will be contested between GWS and the Western Bulldogs. So GWS will start the round in 8th place on 48 points, a percentage of 105.6. The Western Bulldogs will start 4 points behind them in 9th, a percentage superior on 107.6. It also means that the West Coast Eagles move off the bottom of the AFL ladder, and pick 1 may have just changed hands from the West Coast Eagles to North Melbourne. And in a year in which it seems like there's very much a consensus number 1 draft pick, Harley Reid may well be staying in Victoria. The Dogs slinking off the ground, their tails between their legs, as they should be. Absolutely unbelievable that we would come here today and see this result, Nathan Burke and Brad Sewell.
Oh, well, surely they came out of the blocks firing, and the big question was, can the Eagles maintain that? And to their credit, they absolutely did. There wasn't really a period where the Western Bulldogs were right on top. They kicked 3 in a row in that third, but still weren't right dominating play. And just the effort from the Eagles, the pace that they showed, the dare with the ball movement that they showed was absolutely outstanding today, and certainly deserved winners of this game.
No, without doubt. Western Bulldogs, just looking at them walk off the ground, this is catastrophic to have gone down in the manner that they have today.
It is hard to find the right words to contextualise what a slip-up that is. It's never easy going down to win at the Cattery as well. They'll have the domestic house pet duel next week to try and play finals, and who knows if GWS beat Carlton as well. It's out of their hands now.
Yeah, and that's what you don't want. You don't want to come into the last round hoping other teams lose. You want everything on your own terms. And I was reading something this morning. They had a whole bunch of options for St Kilda to make the finals and rated them percentage-wise of likelihood. And the likelihood of West Coast Eagles beating Western Bulldogs today was 4%. And that was the least likely option to take, and it's come true for the Saints. So all the Saints people out there will be celebrating, I'm absolutely sure. So will the Sydney supporters. But yeah, Western Bulldogs, your own worst enemy today. You played, the only way to describe that is just ordinary football. well, normally we see the Western Bulldogs and they're so slick with their ball movement and they're all on the same page. If they get in trouble, you've got someone in support and then there's someone else in support, and you just move the ball so quickly and fluently to the forwards. Today they just played ordinary football. There was none of that slick ball movement. It was just, okay, I've got the footy. I hope someone gets free and I hope I can hit that person with the ball. There was no support, no running in numbers, no real semblance of teamwork, and they really had nothing in terms of the Western Bulldogs game plan, game style, brand, whatever you call it. They won, whether they weren't allowed to do it by the Eagles, and I think that's a really big factor in it. But two, they've just lost it. And teams do, they lose the way that they play every now and again. And certainly the Western Bulldogs have lost it today.
So the West Coast Eagles waiting for Jamie Cripps. They'll head down into the rooms. Let's head in there. Jess Webster is awaiting the victorious West Coast Eagles.
I certainly am. They came into the rooms to the warm applause of the support staff who have made their way into the rooms. They've gathered in the song. Zane True getting absolutely drenched in sports drink, celebrating his first win in Eagles colours. Here, have a listen to this song. So a 7-point win to the West Coast Eagles, their third win over the year, and they'll celebrate accordingly.
So the West Coast Eagles will be very pleased, and there are just so many permutations on the season. I mean, you look at, it feels like North Melbourne have won, but it does mean they'll win the wooden spoon. So, or likely win the wooden spoon, assuming there's not a win for North in the final week of the season against the Gold Coast Suns. We will hear from the West Coast Eagles very shortly. But Adam Simpson, just quietly either, can't help himself. On the TV broadcast, his first answer, yeah, we tried to tank in the last 3 minutes. It didn't work. Kept on saying kick it the other way. Play an equalised game.
Yeah, tanking, he has lost his sense of humour.
Yeah, tanking, spanking. So I get the sense that Harley didn't really want to go to the West Coast Eagles anyway, and they were going to pick someone else.
Be happy somewhere.
Yeah.
Kangaroos squeeze another on-baller, another young on-baller in there.
I'm tipping they can Sheasel, Wardlaw and Reid in the next 5 years or so. That's not a bad little thing to build something around. Simpkin will still be hanging around, and you got Luke Davies-Uniacke there, probably be the leader of that little group. So good news for the Kangaroos.
So just repeating, the West Coast Eagles 14-8-92, winning over the Western Bulldogs 12-13-85, a 7-point victory for the West Coast Eagles. It's going to be fitted up largely around the Western Bulldogs. How on earth does a team come here and lose today with so much at stake, like their own fate in their own hands, keeping it that way for the finals, and lose to the West Coast Eagles? And a really interesting thread is going to be Luke Beveridge saying during the week, we need to go down to Geelong and win.
Not only, it's the way they lost as well. There was no enthusiasm, no passion, no real hunger out there at all. And I think everybody expected the first 5 to 10 minutes of Bulldogs to come out breathing fire, given the enormity of what was on the line today, and we didn't see anything. We saw glimmers from the Bulldogs. We saw glimmers of fight, of grunt, of what you would expect from a side vying for a finals spot.
Yep. It's going to be a quiet old place tomorrow when I roll up to work.
I'd maybe work from home tomorrow. Or just let us know what's going on down there. But, just quickly as well, this is great content from St Kilda. They put up a tweet, Jamie Cripps, St Kilda legend, with a picture of him back when he played for St Kilda. It's going to sheet home to the coach. I don't want to be one of those people who immediately writes the obituaries around Luke Beveridge. We'll continue this conversation in a moment. I think we can head down to the West Coast Eagles rooms let's go down to Jess Webster.
Thanks, Ben. Here with Jamie Cripps, the hero today with 5 goals, 3rd win of the year. How much did you enjoy singing that song just now?
It's bloody good. It's been a tough year for us. So, to get a win against the Bulldogs is bloody awesome. So, hopefully we can keep that form to next week and send off our greats of our club.
And the boys upstairs just mentioned St Kilda gave you a bit of love on Twitter because you've just locked in a finals place for them with this win. So have you still got a soft spot for your old club?
Yeah, still love the Saints. They gave me my opportunity. So, we just wanted to come out, and we knew Bulldogs were in for a sniff for the finals. So, we just wanted to disrupt as much as we can, and it was great to get the win.
I'll send you straight upstairs to our experts, Brad Sewell and Nathan Burke. Over to you.
Jamie, Nathan Burke, mate, congratulations today. That was outstanding from start to finish. We questioned whether you could keep up that intensity that you had at the start, and you managed to do it. Was that probably the key thing today, was just maintaining that rage and intensity?
Yeah, we haven't done it too often this year, a good 4-quarter effort, so that was our main focus. Take each quarter as it comes sort of thing and not look too far ahead. So, I thought our pressure around the contest was elite today, that's the standard that we should have going forward into next week and then into next year.
And you combine that with some really sort of aggressive ball movement at times. Right from the start, you can tell if someone ran past for a handball, you'd give it. Tried to use the corridor again. Was that a focus?
I think that's a focus for every team now. I think you've got to have a decent speed on the ball, otherwise you're not going to get anywhere. So that's probably one thing we've been sort of working on this year, and it was good that the boys had a good day with it.
And mate, your kicking boots, you keep those boots. They went dead straight today.
Yeah, mate. It's nice to get a few through the middle. So it was nice.
Jamie, was Simo's message during the week any different? Was the build-up different?
No, not really. He's just it's amazing to watch him. He's stayed the same the whole year. He's been copping a lot over in Perth, which is unfair. He's an awesome man and a great coach, and he should be our coach going forward into next year and the year after. So, it was just a good win for the club.
So why do you feel so strongly about that, Jamie, and why do you believe some of the criticism has been so unfair?
Because it's on the players as well. It's not just Simo. We've got a young group coming through. We've had a lot of injuries, which is not an excuse, but it's a bit unfair. It's on the whole club. So he's a great coach, and he's proven over the years that he is. So I think he should be our coach going forward.
Have you spoken to, whether it be the CEO, Trevor Nisbet, whether it be Gavin Bell, the footy boss, about your belief that he still is the right man to remain at the club?
I have not, mate. That's for other people to, I suppose, have the chat, mate. I was a bit away this week, mate. I had a kid on Monday, so I've been in and out of the club. So I'm a little bit tired, mate, but all going well.
Congratulations on the bub, number 2.
That's number 2, mate. 2 boys, so it's going to be a fun bloody house.
Just another addition to the Northampton production line. I think it still counts all of this time on. We saw a little bit of conjecture around the goal line technology today. It was at the other end of the ground to which you play, but I'm sure you saw last night, on the back of last night. As a player, do you have a view on whether that technology is working?
Oh, mate, to be honest, I haven't thought anything about it. I guess the AFL will work out what's best for the game, so I'll leave it up to them.
You're too good, Jamie. You just don't get involved. A great victory for the West Coast Eagles, your 3rd of the season. Thanks for chatting to us on Grandstand AFL.
Thanks for having me. Cheers.
Good luck with the bub.
Thank you.
Good luck getting some sleep.
Yeah, that's the worst thing. Get home at midnight tonight and I won't be going to sleep. So, cheers, boys.
Should have rocking the baby celebration today for the bub, Jamie
Cripps.
Cripps.
Chances to do it. 5 goals, and sees his former side into the finals. I like that from St Kilda. They are the best social media team in the competition, so haven't had a lot of success on field in years gone by, but they are brilliant on the socials, St Kilda. We might see if we can get a word out of the Western Bulldogs. I don't think they'll be overly eager to speak, but if we can record that,
We'll replay it, I'm sure, at halftime in the match between Fremantle and Port Adelaide, which is coming up. Clint Wheeldon, Mitch Turner, Sharad Wellingham, Cara Antonio and Akash Fodadar on the boundary to bring us that match. Luke Beveridge is going to come under the pump. He's someone you know well, an assistant coach at Hawthorn while you were there. Yep. 6 elite-rated players on the list. It feels like a list that should be overachieving, and you don't even need an opinion on it because Amit Bain said as much. They believe this is a top 4 list, and that's where they should be. And not only are they not going to be in the top 4 where you win premierships from, they may well be outside the 8.
Yeah. They've built a rod for their own back in that sense, that they've set their expectations and publicly stated where they think they should be, and clearly they're going to fall well short of that. Some in the media have been very critical of the club and have expressed their opinions of where they also think the club should be in terms of top 4, given the talent of the list. Clearly not there now. They didn't play that way this week. They didn't play that way last week. And there have been those question marks throughout the last 12 months. We've seen flashes of what externally we expect of the Bulldogs throughout matches over the last couple of months, but they have not at any stage put that together for 4 quarters. So the question will be asked, as you said.
Amit Baines, we had him here on Friday night a couple of weeks ago and we interviewed him and it was quite strong. Corbin asked him a lot of questions around whether Luke Beveridge has too much control over the footy department, what they need to do. I think it's there has to have been something wrong in the preparation of the team today. Something, and you spoke about it broadly, Berkey, with the Essendon performance, about the coaches will look at it and say, what did we do in preparation to arrive here?
Yeah, you can prepare as much as you want them physically and do your training drills and all that sort of stuff, but the thing that you cannot fully control is what goes on between players' ears and each individual player's ears. And you try and influence it as much as you can, but you can never control it. And today the Bulldogs look like a team of, you know what, I'm not going to fully attack just in case I make a mistake and I'm the reason why we end up losing to West Coast Eagles, because that would be terrible. And you only have to be 5% off, and the other team, this is a competitive competition, as we know. There's 12, 13 team are vying for the finals, and that's the thing that you can't fully control as a coach. And I reckon that's probably what let the team down today. You had players who were just sort of second guessing, and if you take a split second to go or not go, that can be the difference in a 7-point game.
They need a really strong review at the end of the season. That's been put forward by some people, and absolutely I'm in agreement with that. Luke Beveridge, of course, still has 2 years to run on his contract, so off contract at the end of 2025, which is an interesting part of all of this. Just repeating, the Eagles winning by 7 points, 14-8-92, plays 12-13-85. MJ and Margaret River says, trying to turn a victorious interview into a discussion about Simo's future. How pathetic. Jamie should have shut you down. He's too nice. I don't think that was the case at all. I know Jamie very well. He brought up Simpson first. He said, look, Simpson's a great coach. He's proven to be that. And he should be the man going forward. He's been unfairly criticised, and I asked him why he thought that was the case, and I think it depends how you're looking at it, whether it's glass half full or half empty. You could say, if it was half full, that we gave him an opportunity to say why he's been such a great coach, their premiership coach. So I respectfully just disagree a little bit on that, MJ. The Eagles 14-8-92, winning over the Dogs 12-13-85. So what all of it means is this. The top 7 of the top 8 is set. The only spots that can change now is GWS, who are currently 8th for the Western Bulldogs. So the Giants on 48, the Bulldogs on 44. Bulldogs must win against Geelong on Saturday night down at the Cattery. If they lose, Giants are in. If the Bulldogs win, Giants must beat Carlton in the final game of the home and away season to make the finals, which is
Wow.
absolutely the AFL's dream.
They've done that well, haven't they?
They've
Yeah.
done that very well.
So they will be just hoping against hope that the Western Bulldogs can go down to Geelong and win on the weekend. Keep your texts coming if you're an Eagles fan. Where you're listening, 0437 774 774. That's 0437 774 774. It's difficult to know where to take it for the Western Bulldogs from here. They want for nothing, I don't think. Whether the forward line structure is working, I think the fact that Liberatore wasn't there today, it seems to really stand out when Libba's not in there doing the grunt work for the Western Bulldogs.
Yeah, absolutely. He's such an important player for that team. Today it would have been, this is a tough game. We need to win it on the inside. I'm going to be that man. And apart from Bontempelli, Treloar gets in there. He tries really, really hard, but he's not a sort of a bowl you over type of midfielder. He's an accumulator. So that's what they missed in my mind. They definitely miss a Libba. Not just that, but just the spark that he gives the team, because they all love him so much. And when he gets in there and fires them up, it lifts the rest of them as well.
Just missing Tom Liberatore today. A brief note on the West Coast Eagles. Tim Kelly was enormous. 32 disposals, 4 tackles, 6 inside 50s, 12 score involvements. But I think it was the shoots. So Oscar Allen's not a green shoot anymore. I mean, he's 24 years of age. He'll be the next captain of the West Coast Eagles. He's had an incredible season in a team that hasn't performed overly well, kicking 49 goals, playing every game of the season. But his performance, 3 goals, 18 disposals, and 9 marks. Elijah Hewitt backing up after winning the Rising Star nod last week, 19 disposals, 5 clearances, 4 inside 50s, 3 score involvements, as well as the likes of Noah Long and even Luke Edwards with 16. Some of their younger players showed what the future might look like.
Yeah, and I thought Bailey Williams in the ruck did an outstanding job against Tim English as well. Probably rucked actually better than him. He had 10 possessions himself. English probably had more possessions. He ended up with 21, but the actual ruck work from Bailey Williams was outstanding and certainly made it a contest.
I've run it here.
Yep.
Who's doing the votes?
Yep, I've got it. I've given 3 votes to Oscar Allen, as you touched on. I've given 2 votes to... Oh, where's he gone? Kelly. And the 3 votes for Jamie Cripps. 5 goals as that small forward.
1 vote for Jamie Cripps, wasn't it?
What did I say?
Or did
No, Allen.
You went the wrong. 1 to Allen.
1
to Allen, sorry.
Yep.
Wrong way around. Okay, 3 to Cripps, 2 to Kelly, 1 to Oscar Allen. Berkey, great to see you. Seen you a lot in the last 24 hours.
No, I need a rest.
Yep.
Give me a week off.
That's absolutely normal. Good to see you too, Sully.
Absolutely, Ben, thank you.
Thanks to the coolest tech in the game, Jules McKenzie. To Jess Webster, who was with me, had to duck downstairs. Also, a big thank you to Aaron back in the studio. Time for us to go. We're sending you out west. It is Port Adelaide and Fremantle coming up. The final game of round 23. Clint Wilden to head up the call. That's next. It was the Eagles by 7.
What's the best thing in the world that's also on the ABC Listen app? The footy!